That's thepridestores.com. The Pride Stores, not your typical convenience store.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Get ready for an event like no other. It's Glock Days at Gat Guns in East Dundee, Illinois, happening on November 18th and 19th. Are you a Glock enthusiast? Or maybe you're just curious about what makes Glock the gold standard in firearms? Well, mark your calendars, because on November 18th, Gat Guns has the Glock rep right there in store, ready to answer all your burning questions. Gat Guns is loaded up with hundreds of Glock pistols and even more Glock accessories. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a first-time buyer, they've got something special just for you. Don't miss this Gat Guns exclusive sales event, where you will find unbelievable deals and discounts on most of the Glock lineup. While you're there, enter to win a new Glock pistol. So, gear up, lock in, and join Gat Guns for Glock Days on November 18th and 19th, Saturday and Sunday at Gat Guns in East Dundee, Illinois. This event is not to be missed. For more information and directions, visit gatguns.com. That's gatguns.com.
Pluto TV is your place for holiday channels, including Lifetime and Hallmark, all for free. Download the Pluto TV app on all your favorite devices. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
It's 5:41. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We'll start on the tri-state where there's an accident. Left lane blocked northbound right along I-57 this morning. Bishop Ford, bad accident. Left lane block, couple of cars into the wall. Inbound between 159th and 130th. Dan Ryan already stopping slow inbound between Pershing and the Chinatown feeder. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds on the increase. Warm and breezy this afternoon. High 66. Couple of showers move in overnight. Tomorrow, morning showers, and then we turn cooler. A high of 48. Saturday, a high of 53. Good travel weather for the early holiday travelers with a high of 53. Currently 45. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois. Online at papanicholas.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Come join the murder. Come fly with Black. Well, he'll give you freedom.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. That music means it's time to talk about Chicago crime stories. By the way, speaking of that, that song, of course, is from Sons of Anarchy. Later in the show, we have Vincent Vargas, who was in Mayans MC, which was a spinoff of Sons of Anarchy. So I'm excited about that. And he was Border Patrol. He served in the military's Border Patrol, too.
It's going to be great. You're not going to miss it.
It'll be fun to talk to him. All right, updating a couple of the high-profile crime stories that we have brought you previously. This story we've talked about a couple of times now. We've got a little bit more detail. This is the flight attendant on a layover, thought she'd do some window shopping on the Mag Mile, and is now unresponsive. The report is significant brain damage. It doesn't look good for her after she was attacked in front of Burberry's.
Yeah, it was a beautiful, warm, ironically warm day, Christmas shopping. People were doing that. And this guy, Dino, was standing behind her when it happened. And he is still just a wreck by the destruction that he saw.
There was a group in front of us. And the next thing we know, a gentleman came out of, or deranged man came out of nowhere with a about 6-foot log and projected it into this woman's side of her face.
And the log came from, according to police, a Christmas display at the Starbucks across the street, and it was 5 to 6 feet long. And he's carrying this across Michigan Avenue, and then he said he lunged it so hard at the right side of her face that she was knocked out immediately.
My friend described it as an Olympian.
Javelin
throw. A javelin throw. Exactly.
A javelin. And there was women and children, grandmas pushing their babies in strollers all around while this is happening. Who the hell is going to want to come to Chicago or even shop downtown for, the Christmas time on the Magnificent Mile after seeing that? After hearing about that. I mean, it's so graphic. And this guy, Bruce Diamond, 52, thank God he's not out on bond. The Safety Act, he's still behind bars, but he's got like a Lakeview phone book thick file of prior arrests.
He'd been AWOL for more than 2 years from a misdemeanor battery case. He was accused of battering someone inside a store on North Dearborn. Before that, between 89 and 97, he racked up 16 misdemeanor arrests. More recently, he had been in Ohio. He had 21 convictions in the state of Ohio since 2011. In one of those cases, he likes to throw things at people.
Oh, he does.
He was accused of throwing a rock at a Cincinnati Fire Department ambulance in the city's Government Square.
Throw man.
Repeat violent offenders, and again, as we mentioned previously with respect to this story, this happened basically just steps away from where a Northern Trust employee was killed when another repeat violent offender with a long history of attacking people and questions about his mental stability ran up and punched this 49-year-old man from behind, causing him to fall forward, hit his head. He died.
And we had a fight last night in River North. 2 men fighting, 11:30 last night. And the punch, fatal punch, he fell down, hit his head on a curb, dead. And we're worried about guns right now. And this also, too, why did this black man attack this white woman out of the blue? He didn't know her from Adam. He just chose her, ran up and hit the white woman. Is that a hate crime? I know you don't like hate crimes, but it just, that always gets lost in everything.
Updating the Beverly double carjacking story.
Oh, boy.
So 2 men charged with that carjacking. So these are the 2 that induced the screaming that went viral. The Ring camera caught and went viral. Mom and her 12-year-old daughter returning home from volleyball practice, and these guys descend upon them and then point a gun in Dad's face when daughter runs into the house. This is the Pettiford family. They've become public and talked about it. He comes downstairs. The guy points a gun in his face with the other guy saying, shoot him, words to that effect, and thankfully that didn't happen. So these guys, one was on bond for a felony gun case. The other was on parole for 2 carjackings. They've now been charged with robbing and carjacking in Beverly. One was on bond for a felony gun case. The other, because we're serious about gun crime.
Yeah.
The other on parole for 2 carjackings, because we're serious about removing repeat violent offenders from the streets of Chicago.
In my neighborhood, not last night, the night before, I thought we had 3 carjackings. I was wrong. We had 12 total armed robbery and carjackings by the same group of people within a matter of 30 minutes. And they even boxed people in. So in front of Merkel's on Clark there, right by Wrigley, these 2 chicks were parking their car, and one guy came from behind the other side. They boxed them in. They beat up the passenger, took her belongings, and then took off with the car. And they did that again and again and again and again within a matter of 30 minutes. They're very, very swift, very successful.
You know what's funny is getting into these arguments about the incidents of violent crime in Chicago with these mindless trolls who want to cherry pick statistics to suggest that it's just big city living. I mean, these are just anecdotes about living in the big city. It happens everywhere. Crimes going down because murders and shootings are slightly down year over year. If you look historically at other terrible periods in the history of Chicago, we've been here before. I love the rationalizations that this is supposed to be just sort of accepted as attendant to living in the city. And because we've had previous periods of runaway violent crime, that it somehow excuses this period of runaway violent crime. This despite the fact, again, if you want to do these comparisons, which we've done for years, that Chicago has more shootings and murders than L.A. and New York combined, despite having about 1/4 of the total population of those two cities combined. But, hey, whatever helps you sleep at night, whatever helps you rationalize your support for the men and women of always, from the party of always, with the policies of always in Chicago. Whatever works. Those previous bad periods, who was in charge then? Conservatives? I don't think so. Oh, and then there were dips. So it's just cyclical, and we're just cosmic putty in the hands of inexorable fate. Things just go up and down. There's no rhyme or reason for them. It has nothing to do with the people in office. It has nothing to do with the policies the electorate supports. It's just, the vagaries of the human condition. And some years you're going to have 850 murders, and some years you're going to have 650 murders, and it just moves like the Dow Jones, and you just accept this. It's terrible what happened to that flight attendant. Well, it happens. Gosh, thank God it wasn't someone I care about. It's terrible what happened to that Northern Trust employee. I know. It's just. But, that just happens. You just throw up your hands. What are we supposed to do? We hire more police or hire less police, or put more security cameras in, or hire more police but don't put security cameras in. Or the conversation about all of this barbarism, this depravity, is almost as depraved as the actual physical violence.
Yeah. And the reason why they were able on the Michigan Avenue attack to get this monster so quickly is because they have those cop cars set up 24/7 on the medians of Michigan Avenue, so they were able to arrest them right away. But they weren't able to prevent it. The cop there with the lights on didn't stop this crazy monster from killing her or hurting her.
So that's not on the cops.
No, I know, but I'm saying that their presence isn't scaring anybody anymore. Just like news cameras used to, keep off bad guys. That's not working anymore.
Cops never prevented crime, and they don't still. That's not what prevents crime. And I don't know why people cling to these saws of yore. Police respond after a crime has been committed, and their job is to hold the person responsible.
True, but I was under the impression that a cop car is standing like.
Yeah, presence. I get it, but presence, you can't be everywhere. That's the whole point.
Well, yeah.
And this is the fallacy that people live their lives under, so many in Chicago. Oh, more police presence, more police presence. You could institute martial law, and still police aren't going to be everywhere, because people don't want to be held responsible for their own personal protection, but you will be. I don't want to confront that reality. Well, do so or fail to do so at your own peril.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
I have some research that's particularly useful for Chicago. And it suggests the futility of these conversations, which I've sort of already internalized, from our friends at the University of Bath across the pond. The abstract of their research, it's a puzzle why humans tend toward unrealistic optimism. as it can lead to excessively risky behavior and a failure to take precautionary action. So they looked at it. They looked at this unrealistic optimism. Think about it another way, the way that we talk about it here. The people that love to hear politicians tell them beautiful lies and then repeat it to each other, and love to cling to those beautiful lies no matter what they experience, no matter what they see, no matter how much evidence you present. I am sticking with the beautiful lies. You know why? You know why they do this? Because they're optimistic idiots, with an emphasis on idiots. Our claim, the researchers, is that optimism bias is partly a consequence of low cognition, as measured by a broad range of cognitive skills, including memory, verbal fluency, fluid reasoning, and numerical reasoning. We operationalize unrealistic optimism as the difference between a person's financial expectation, in this experiment, and the financial realization that follows. All else being equal, those on the highest cognitive ability experience a 22 increase in probability of realism and a 35% reduction in optimism compared with those lowest on cognitive ability. This suggests that the negative consequences of an excessively optimistic mindset may be in part a side product of the true driver, low cognitive ability. The people who believe the beautiful lies are idiots, and it turns out that they're at least a plurality, if not a majority, of Chicago's electorate. So therein lies your problem. Angelo in Racine, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I grew up northwest side in Hutchinson, Pulaski, and I love the city. I still got family there, but get paranoid every time I go down there now. But the biggest thing is, we hear about these crimes like this lady on Michigan Avenue, but nobody brings up what the common denominator is. They're afraid to because it's race-related, until you point out and somebody says it out loud. I know the governor won't say it. The mayor definitely won't say it. And it's blacks committing these crimes. Then you have to acknowledge that and accept that, and then ask why. Then they're going to tell you it's poverty, it's this, that, and the other. I grew up poor. I didn't do those things. The people I grew up with, we grew up poor. We didn't do these things.
And
so
most
that's got nothing to do with it.
Right, and thanks for the call, Angela, and most black residents don't either. That's the other part of it, which I'm happy to say because it's true. We say things that are true here. And so it's real simple. Most people who live in poverty don't commit violent crimes. That's a fact.
Yep.
So the issue is, what do you do with those who do, regardless of their race? And that's a conversation that, again, is beyond the cognitive ability of the plurality, if not the majority, of Chicagoans. Phil, Northwest Side.
Yeah, it's like Monday morning football reports, They all got one thing in common. It's all these Democrat judges and a Democrat mayor and a Democrat governor. And, we keep selling $300 million a week worth of dope for 45 years, and it never stops. I'm not for legalization of dope, but something, if you legalize the stuff, I hate to say it, 95% of these shootings will stop. Yeah, they will.
No,
yeah,
I think
will.
they're doing it because they're bored too, for sport.
No, it's nothing to do with board. It has to do with money related. These kids are out all night, listen to police scanners. You can listen to police scanners, and you can approach them armed when they're trying to rob your catalytic converters. They don't care. They're that arrogant. They know they're not going to jail. They know they're going to get off. Nobody cares. I'm telling you. And when you go to these dope spots in Chicago, all over the place, and there's about 20 of them, when you go to there, they're making 100, 200 grand a day. They don't care. The cops are like secretaries in blue because their arms are tied too.
Thanks, Phil. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm Carolyn. I have been in private practice of physician's physical therapy for 35 years.
And you're going to come in, but breathe. Yep.
perfect. I open up at 4 a.m. and I'll go on till 10 a.m. and it's day after day. And as you can see by the equipment here, we are intensely active. People watch, they observe, and people say, Carolyn, what's your secret? And I say it's from proper diet, proper exercise, and of course, through Balance of Nature. I'm 60, but since taking Balance of Nature, I feel the energy level of 27. I've been taking Balance of Nature for several years, and I love it. I endorse it, I believe in it, and I would recommend it.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Louisiana Senator John Kennedy embarrasses yet another Biden federal district court judge nominee, 606.
And another reason why Democrats do not like the new House Speaker. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Mayor Johnson launching an effort to limit shelter stays for migrants. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Straight Talk. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President Biden says they haven't always agreed, but that his 4-hour conversation with China's President Xi was some of the most constructive and productive discussions they've had. He says direct military communications have been reestablished.
That's been cut off, and it's been very worrisome. That's how accidents happen, misunderstandings. So we're back to direct, open, clear, direct communications on a direct basis.
There's an agreement for China to crack down on fentanyl exports to the United States, and President Xi reportedly tells President Biden the most sensitive, unresolved issue is China's territorial claim over Taiwan and the United States providing arms there. Some pro-Palestinian protesters get violent outside the Democratic National Committee headquarters in Washington, D.C., calling for a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. Several have been arrested. 6 police officers are reported to be injured. Most Americans say they're on Israel's side.
By a margin of 3-1, voters are siding more with the Israelis than the Palestinians. The poll also lays blame at the feet of Hamas, overwhelmingly saying 69% believe Hamas is to blame for the conflict. Even with the feelings about Hamas, Americans are not okay with limiting the free speech of those on college campuses or elsewhere who wish to speak in support of Hamas and Palestinians. 60% say, let them speak. Also, by a 65 to 31% margin, voters say humanitarian aid should be provided to Palestinians in need. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
The Senate votes 87-11 to pass a short-term spending bill that prevents a partial government shutdown tomorrow night. The House passed it Tuesday with near unanimous support from Democrats and nearly half of Republicans opposed. Heavy rain is causing flooding in parts of South Florida, including Miami and Fort Lauderdale. More than a foot of rain could fall in some spots by the time the storm ends. America's listening to Fox News.
.45 degrees in Chicago, 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Mayor Brandon Johnson celebrating passage of his first budget. The City Council approving the more than $16.6 billion 2024 spending plan yesterday on a 41-8 vote. Budget spends $150 million taxpayer dollars for illegal migrants, some who are seeking asylum. It also provides funding for newly opened mental health clinics. Following passage of his first budget, the mayor unveiled some changes in the treatment and housing of illegal migrants. Johnson saying his new plan will give migrants a 60-day limit in city-run shelters.
Making those investments on the front end, we have to make, with the resources that we are providing, we have to make sure that we're setting these families and these individuals up to actually contribute so that we can actually have a return on that investment.
Johnson says it's all part of an expedited plan to get migrants on the path to work in the city of Chicago. The mayor is just 6 months into his new term, but according to new polling, residents are very unhappy with his performance. Johnson beat Paul Vallis in the April runoff. Since then, Johnson has dealt with migrant issues, crime, and budget problems. Dylan Sharkey is with the Illinois Policy Institute and says Johnson has one of the lowest approval ratings ever.
Mayor Brandon Johnson has the lowest approval rating for a new mayor. Only 3 times since 1979 has a Chicago mayor's approval rating dipped below 30%.
Chicago's on pace for nearly 80,000 major crimes in 2023. Family members are demanding prosecutors do their jobs after a man was killed, his brother critically wounded in a shooting this past weekend in Chicago's Humboldt Park neighborhood. Tremont Thomas and his brother Terrence were shot while delivering food on Saturday. Chicago sports. Bulls victims of Apollo Banchero buzzer beater during a 96-94 loss to Orlando at the UC. Zach LaVine led Chicago with 19. Nikola Vucevic chipped in with 17. Blackhawks take on Tampa Bay at the UC tonight, and the Bears go with Justin Fields at quarterback when they take on the Lions this weekend. The News is a service of Salem Surround, providing your business with industry-leading digital marketing strategies. Go to surroundchicago.com today. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
This radio station is always on, but sometimes you need more content that you can take with you anywhere. That's why we invented the SalemPodcastNetwork.com. You'll find all the great hosts on this radio station, plus a few more, like Charlie Kirk, Dinesh D'Souza, Trish Regan, Jenna Ellis, and Dennis and Julie. There's literally no end to what we can teach you. It's like radio on demand, and just like radio, it's always on. Go find out what you're missing. Download the app, SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
When you're in the market to buy or sell a home, commercial property, or even vacant land, let attorney Susan J. Kim step in. She's reliable, responsive, personable, and extremely thorough when helping you deal with an otherwise stressful transaction. Attorney Kim leads with her values and is committed to providing legal services with excellence. To contact Attorney Kim, visit sjkimlaw.com. That's sjkimlaw.com. Whether it's drafting agreements, negotiating contract terms, or closing on a property, attorney Susan J. Kim can do it all. Over 10 years of experience and her wealth of knowledge tackling complicated legal negotiations and breaking them down into a smooth, easy-to-understand process is what she does best. So let attorney Susan J. Kim step in. To schedule your legal consultation today, visit sjkimlaw.com. That's sjkimlaw.com or call 847-906-3166. Susan J. Kim, attorney at law, is a state of Illinois licensed real estate attorney.
All right, Christmas will be here before we know it. If you're looking for a really special gift, I encourage you to check out the firearms made right here in America by our great friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, you start by going to their website, henryusa.com, order their free holiday gift guide, and they'll mail it with free decals that you can use for stocking stuffers. Perfect timing. Folks, when you give someone a Henry, you're giving them a work of art that is built with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen as a collector. Now, their performance is top-notch. Mine were accurate, all of them, right out of the box. They shoot smooth and straight, and they have been reliable ever since. They have over 200 models of rifles and shotguns and revolvers to choose from. One of the things I like the most about these firearms, they're family heirlooms. They'll always be backed by the company's lifetime warranty. So if you want to put something that's made in America under the tree this Christmas, henryusa.com. Get their free gift guide and their decals today. That's henryusa.com. You will love this company.
I'm Dave Nissen, CEO of PKF Mueller. As a CPA firm, we have been serving our business clients since 1968 by providing audit, accounting, tax, advisory, and consulting services. We as trusted advisors go beyond what our clients hired us to do by thinking outside the box to understand their operations and industry. We want to discover ways to increase their net income and cash flow by reducing costs or increasing efficiencies. To this end, PKF Mueller provides several client value-added services through strategic relationships. Our partners are specialists and serve the same type of clients that we do and add value by reducing our clients' overall electric and gas costs, discovering inaccuracies and overcharges on utility bills, assisting in financing of real estate, and helping to reduce uncollectible accounts and bad debt expenses. To learn more about our value-added service providers and how we can assist, call me directly at 630-524-5274 or dnissen@pkfmueller.com.
6:08, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg traffic center time. We'll start in Bensonville, where there's an accident at Route 83 and Devon. Tri-State stop-and-go traffic northbound between the Cermak Toll and the Ike. Bishop Ford, solid traffic inbound between 154th and 130th due to a bad accident. A left lane blocked with a car into the wall there. And the Dan Ryan jammed up in the express this morning inbound 47 into the Stevenson. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Here's our AccuWeather meteorologist, Steve Williams.
A breezy day, clouds will increase. It'll be warm. High today, 66. Breezy this evening, cloudy with a couple of showers moving in late, low 45. Morning shower in spots tomorrow, then clouds and sun, a high at 48. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
45 at O'Hare, 48 at Midway. It is 50 across Chicago's Great Lakefront. Your next news update is at 6:30. Breaking news as it happens. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago. Ensure your legacy lives on. Set your final wishes in place. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Well, when you turn school systems into totalitarian indoctrination centers, then you send those people out into the world to politicize, and by that I mean destroy the institutions they become a part of. That's what you see happening writ large, running through all the institutions in America, including the judiciary, which perhaps we don't talk enough about, but certainly you're seeing it play out. I mean, my opinion of the quality of interpretation of the law in our courts, that opinion is basically running at the same trajectory of my opinion of the FBI. How couldn't it, when you see what the Department of Justice suborns? And I'm not just talking about Trump. How could it when you see what courts at the state and local level, what they do in terms of adjudicating criminal cases, what they do in terms of policy proposals. Remember, before we had the Pritzker Purge Law, we had Tim Evans moving to eliminate cash bail in Cook County.
Right. Especially for young offenders, because their brain hasn't formed yet.
Well, right. He wants a special court for 18 to 24-year-olds. And we see that with these judicial nominees from the Biden administration for federal district court judge posts, judgeships. And thankfully, because we have John Kennedy on the Senate Judiciary Committee,
thank God,
we get a real illustration of what I'm talking about. Well, because, again, it's running through the professional schools, too. It's not just K through 12. It's not just the campuses as it pertains to undergrads. It's the professional schools. Stanley Goldfarb has been writing about what's happening in med schools for the last half decade. We've seen what's happened at the law schools, the reputedly best law schools like Stanford, where they can't tolerate a difference in legal philosophy with a sitting federal appellate court judge before it descends into name-calling and crybabyism. Stanford.
Victimization.
And so this should come as no surprise. But as I want to say, it's always nice to produce the evidence to support the claim. Sarah Hill is a nominee that's been advanced by Mr. 10%, the big guy, President Biden. The Senate Judiciary Committee tweeted, Sarah Hill is an accomplished litigator with deep ties to Oklahoma and significant courtroom experience. If confirmed, she'd be the first Native American woman to serve as a federal judge in Oklahoma. Well, there's the qualification. Identitarian qualifications are what matter for the left. She's an accomplished litigator with deep ties to Oklahoma and significant courtroom experience.
But yet...
she's a litigator.
Mm-hmm.
So John Kennedy has a simple question for this accomplished litigator that you would think a litigator might know. Simple question.
I might know, but she doesn't know.
John Kennedy's simple questions for Biden federal district court judges. This needs to become a recurring installment.
A stay order and an injunction.
A stay order would prohibit. An injunction would restrain the parties from taking action. A stay order, I'm not sure that I actually can give you the.
Okay.
She doesn't know what the difference between an injunction and a stay order is. Some of our barristers out there, I'll let you answer before I do, unless, Amy, you want to give it a shot. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
Well, I'm not a lawyer, though.
No, but you're allowed to have knowledge that lawyers have.
Okay.
Do you know what it is? Do you know the difference?
I think with the stay, if the court has to make a decision before the beginning of an appeal. And that's not looking on the Googles.
No.
What
nice,
is it?
Nice try, though.
Well, I didn't get my JD like you did.
But you're not a nominee for a federal district
and thank God I'm not.
I mean, that's sort of the point. I don't expect regular people to know or particularly care, but I do expect a federal judge to know, especially one who is touted as an experienced, accomplished litigator.
She's going to head to the federal bench and she doesn't know the difference. That's kind of that should, raise some red flags, maybe just a little bit.
We'll get back to that. If anybody will give some people time to call in, injunction versus a stay order, see who wants to be a federal judge. Let's
throw out the number real quick. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636, type in DA, then a quick comma. You could text in what the difference is between a stay order and an injunction.
Since we've been having to talk about death and destruction and mayhem the first hour of the show, I just want to have some fun thanks to John Kennedy's simple questions for Biden federal judicial nominees, because that's not the only installment. It's just the most recent one. Another identitarian selection was a woman named Nasrat Chowdhury. She was the first Muslim woman nominated to be a federal judge. John Kennedy had some questions for her about her views on police. That would be interesting to know, federal judge. Does she have any particular views on police that may be concerning?
This is a really simple question, Counselor. Do you believe that cops kill unarmed black men in America every single day? You said it at Princeton.
Senator, I said it in my role as an advocate.
Oh, okay. You didn't mean it.
Senator, I said it in my role as an advocate to make a rhetorical point.
So when you say something that's incorrect, it's okay to excuse it by saying, I was being an advocate? What do you believe? Do you personally believe that cops kill unarmed black men every single day in America?
Senator, I believe law enforcement have an important and challenging job in this country.
That's not what you said, though, Counselor.
Senator, I say before you here today that I do believe law enforcement have a difficult and challenging job, and I also understand the difference
I just think that's an extraordinary statement to make with no data to back up. None whatsoever. There's no basis for you saying that. And you knew it then and you know it now. How can one possibly believe that you're going to be unbiased on the federal bench?
Senator, I believe my record shows that I have worked collaboratively with law enforcement in Boston, Chicago, Mississippi, and Milwaukee to solve complex problems to promote constitutional, effective, and safe
policing. Your record
policing.
shows that you believe cops are guilty until proven innocent. Your record shows that if a cop shoots a criminal, it's the cop's fault. And if a criminal shoots a cop, it's the gun's fault. I've read your record. I've read your record, Ms. Merle, and I don't appreciate you not answering the question straight up. I would respect you a lot more if you'd just tell us what you believe and not try to hide it.
Nusrat Chowdhury, Yale Law School.
Hey.
Nusrat Chowdhury, former legal director for the ACLU of Illinois. Nusrat Chowdhury is, in fact, now a United States District Judge for the Eastern District of New York, despite that exchange.
These diversity hires are going really well.
Yeah.
I mean, she's clearly biased and doesn't even know the facts or doesn't even care to know about them. She's just pushing her agenda.
Inspire confidence in the judicial branch, does it? How about another one? This is federal judicial nominee from the Biden administration, Charnel Jelkengren. John Kennedy has simple questions for her, too.
Okay.
Simple questions from John Kennedy, Biden, federal judicial nominees. See how you do here.
Okay, let's see.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations to all of you. Judge, on the far end, tell me what Article 5 of the Constitution does.
Article 5 is not coming to mind at the moment.
Okay. How about Article 2?
Neither is Article 2.
Okay.
Get a 4. Article 4.
Do you know what purposivism is?
Had it for dinner last night.
In my 12 years as an assistant attorney general and my 9 years serving as a judge, I was not faced with that precise question. We are the highest trial court in Washington state, so I'm frequently faced with issues that I'm not familiar with, and I thoroughly review the law, research, and apply the law to the facts presented to me.
Well, you're going to be faced with it if you're confirmed. I can assure you of that.
Anybody want to be a federal judge for the Eastern District of Washington? Can you give me the topic area that Article 5 covers? Constitution, founding document. How about Article 2? Purposivism is a little bit more of a reach, but not really, not for somebody who wanted to be a federal district court judge. She's, by the way, her nomination is still pending.
Okay. Text messages coming in about, what's the difference between a stay and an injunction.
Yeah.
Dan and Amy, injunction, junction, what's your function?
Okay. You may be nominated by Biden, but you should not be a federal judge.
Another
okay.
text message. Injunction stops a lower court action. A stay keeps it in force.
No.
Okay. Well, they're trying. So.
No, it's fine. That's fine. Again, I doubt anybody texting is a nominee to the federal bench.
This is the best one. Dan and Amy, a stay order stops injunction to prohibit whatever.
Okay.
But that's why none of us are applying to be on the federal bench.
I got a text from a lawyer who will never be a federal judge for all kinds of other reasons, but he does have the correct answer.
Okay, and it is?
Do you want to hear it, or does
Yes,
anybody else want to guess?
Well, I don't know. People are scared our phone lines are not packed. Because
What about Article 2, Article 5? These are a little easier. It's not technical. Article 2, Article 5. Who's read the Constitution? Who remembers anything they've read from the Constitution? Obviously, Biden federal judicial nominees don't. So, to the answer to the question of injunction versus stay, a stay stops the proceeding, stops a legal proceeding.
Okay.
An injunction stops an action. That's the simple way to think about it. So, for example, the injunction, which, to be fair, Ms. Hill, she had the injunction basically right, but the fact she doesn't know what a stay is or be able to distinguish the two is pretty jarring for a quote-unquote accomplished litigator. But injunction is like when you had the Jelly Belly semi-auto sport rifle ban enjoined from enforcement pending the case moving forward, and then ultimately the Seventh Circuit set aside that injunction. But Yeah, so injunction, stops an action, stay stops a proceeding.
And Article 2, everybody should know that. I mean, you have to be an American citizen and 35 years old to run for president.
Yeah, it deals with the executive branch. That's right.
Okay.
Article 5, anybody want to hazard a guess on Article 5? We'll get to purposivism.
Purposivism. I had that as a dessert last night.
No, this
Scrumptious.
This is a different type of purposivism then. But the purposivism that's dessert, you should really have that with caramel sauce. I don't know if you did.
Thank you.
All right, well, think about Article 2 and Article 5. Well, we've already disclosed Article 2. We disclosed.
Shh, it's a secret.
It's news to the Biden nominee, but anyway. Yeah, spoiler alert. Here's Article 2. Mary Kay, Western Springs, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Oh, hi, good morning, you guys. I was thinking, like Vivek said, we should have a constitution test for all citizens before they could vote. I thought maybe these judges should take a test before they could be sworn in. You know, maybe they could sing the Schoolhouse Rock songs in their head to get some of the answers right.
To get points.
You know?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Mary Kay. Not a bad idea.
Got a text message. Dan and Amy, a stay order is what I give my dog when I don't want him to run around.
Exactly. Yes. Right. It's ballpark. It's a better answer than you got from that federal judicial nominee.
Place. Don't forget Dan and Amy, the classic of all time. KJP could not define what a woman is, and she's a Supreme Court justice.
Yes, she's right. That is it's unclear to her. That is true. But we're doing simple questions from John Kennedy. Here's another one too. Now this is not in the context of a judicial nominee, but it's simple questions for judicial nominees. And how about senior level cabinet officials? So your deputy energy secretary, for example. John Kennedy asking Biden's Deputy Energy Secretary, David Turk, about the $50 trillion that the eco-supremacists want to spend to combat climate change. Simple question.
Percent of global emissions.
Yeah, but if you could answer my question. If we spend $50 trillion to become carbon neutral in the United States of America by 2050, you're the Deputy Secretary of Energy. Give me your estimate of how much that is going to reduce world temperatures.
So first of all, it's a net cost. It's what benefits we're having from getting our act together and reducing all of those climate benefits. We're seeing.
Let me ask again. Maybe I'm not being
clear.
clear. If we spent $50 trillion to become carbon neutral by 2050 in the United States of America, how much is that going to reduce world temperatures?
This is a global problem, so we need to reduce our emissions, and we need to do everything we can.
How much, if we do our part, is it going to reduce world temperatures?
We're 13% of global emissions.
You don't know, do you? You don't know, do you?
You can do the math. We need to.
You don't know, do you, Mr. Secretary?
So we're 13% of global emissions.
If you know, why won't you tell me?
If we went to zero, that would be 13%.
You don't know, do you? You just want us to spend $50 trillion, and you don't have the slightest idea whether it's going to reduce world temperatures. Now, I'm all for carbon neutral.
I just love him.
What our betters and the experts with all the credentials, Yale Law School, accomplished litigator, deputy energy secretary. These are people that know stuff. Right. By the way, Article 5.
Yeah, let's go back to Article 5 because
Article 5 deals with amending the Constitution.
Constitution, right? Okay.
I would think that a federal judge would know that. Would know, the basics of our founding documents.
Oh, I'd have it
You don't
memorized.
have to recite the provisions verbatim, but the topic areas, like some familiarity with the Constitution. But why do you need familiarity with the Constitution when it's not really germane to your jurisprudence? Because, sorry, we didn't cover the Constitution at Yale Law School. And by the way, purposivism, it's not as complicated as it sounds. It's just basically deals with the intent of looking at the intent of lawmakers when you're assessing the implications, the interpretation of statutory law. What was the purpose? Again, something maybe you would have come across if you went to a law school that was interested in training future lawyers and judges.
Yes, exactly.
Rather than activists like our friend Nusrat Chowdhury, who says things as an advocate that don't have to be true because she's advocating. Is that the standard in her courtroom as well?
Got a text message. Dan and Amy, proposivism is the painful side effects from taking too much Viagra.
Yes, and if proposivism lasts for more than 4 hours, contact your doctor. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
It seems like everyone is on a complicated diet these days. Gluten-free, keto, metabolic, sugar-free. And with these diets comes special dietary protocol and food products. You can find plenty of advice on your social media sites, but you need expertise to purchase the right food items. A visit to Lil's Dietary Specialty Shop is necessary to shop the best food choices for a medical diet or health plan. Lil's Dietary Specialty Shop stocks all the hard-to-find foods you're looking for, like wheat and dairy alternatives, sugar-free baking mixes, healthy snacks, and more. There's no longer a reason to put off that diet you're supposed to be on when you have Lil's. The staff has personally researched and vetted each item in the store and has plenty of choices in stock.
Lil's Dietary Specialty Shop on 111th Street in Mount Greenwood on the south side of Chicago. Stop in and shop in person or order online at lilsdietary.com and get your items shipped right to your home. lilsdietary.com. Shop, learn, and be healthy.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
Hi, my name is Peg. I'm a wife, mother, and grandmother. Family is so important to me, and I want to stay healthy so that I can continue to do the things that I enjoy doing with all of them. I would recommend Balance of Nature. It's so easy to do every day. I feel great, and who doesn't want to feel great?
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullen has more to say about that confrontation he had with the Teamsters boss. And speaking of standing up to bullies, some black Chicagoans standing up to their alderhuman and the mayor over migrant plans. 636.
Yeah, natives are getting restless, and so today Mayor Johnson and Governor Pritzker announcing Illinois' new migrant plan. We'll give you a sneak peek, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
47 degrees at 6:32 on AM 560, The Answer. Capitol police officers say they arrested one person following protest outside the Democrat National Committee headquarters in Washington, part of a pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas rally. Protesters getting into shoving matches with Capitol officers, with the arrest being made for assault. 6 Capitol police officers suffered injuries. President Biden says his meetings with the Chinese president were some of the most productive and constructive the two have ever had. Fox's Kristen Goodwin has a recap.
President Biden says he and Chinese President Xi Jinping will curb Chinese-based fentanyl production.
More people in the United States between the ages of 18 and 49 die from fentanyl than from guns, car accidents, or any other cause, period.
Also that they will resume military-to-military communication, and
we're going to get our experts together to discuss risk and safety issues associated with artificial intelligence.
The two leaders meeting face-to-face for the first time in a year for a 4-hour discussion on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. President Biden also stressing the importance of peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. From APAC in San Francisco, Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Voting by the UAW on A tentative contract agreement with all three Detroit automakers ends today. Ford and Stellantis workers are expected to approve. There's speculation now that GM workers might not. The FAA giving SpaceX the go-ahead for a planned launch of their Starship prototype tomorrow around 7 a.m. The Cleveland Browns quarterback is done for the season. Cleveland announcing overnight Deshaun Watson will undergo surgery to repair a fracture in his throwing shoulder. The Illinois Commerce Commission is expected to vote today on a massive NICOR gas rate increase that could jack your bill up by about $9 a month. NICOR has won 3 rate hikes since 2018, raising charges by about 80% or $500 million. According to the Citizens Utility Board, NICOR's parent Southern Company has raked in $16 billion in profits at this time. NICOR serves more than 2.3 million customers across the state. The ICC will also weigh in whether to approve rate hikes for the customers of Ameren, Peoples Gas, and North Shore Gas. Mayor Brandon Johnson is celebrating passage of his first budget. Following passage of that budget, the mayor unveiled changes in the treatment and housing of illegal migrants in the city. Johnson says his new plan, unveiled yesterday, will give migrants a 60-day limit in city-run shelters, and there will be a dedicated entry point for asylum seekers.
On the front end, we have to make, with the resources that we are providing, we have to make sure that we're setting these families and these individuals up to actually contribute so that we can actually have a return on that investment.
Johnson says it's all part of an expedited plan to get migrants on the path to work.
Above all, we are treating our new neighbors with compassion because it is the humane thing to do. Because with support, they can become productive members of our community.
Johnson also trying to put in place rules for bus companies that drop off migrants that could result in citations and fines. Chicago sports. Bulls lost to the Orlando Magic at the buzzer, 96-94 at the UC last night. Blackhawks try to get back in the win column when they host Tampa Bay tonight. Justin Fields back at quarterback as the Bears take on the Lions this weekend. Northwestern removes the interim label from David Braun's title, announcing Braun will now be the full-time head football coach going forward. The news, a service of Lowe's. Great deals all month long when you shop Black Friday every day at Lowe's. Buy one DeWalt 20-volt max 4-tool combo kit. Get 2 select tools free. Valid through 11/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Would you like to have your mortgage or rent paid for all of 2024? Yeah, that sounds like a Christmas miracle, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly what AM 560, The Answer, wants to do for you. Go to 560theanswer.com/miracle to enter our Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest. Enter once per day, every day, between now and December 20th, and you can have your rent or mortgage paid for all of next year. Go to 560theanswer.com/miracle.
Testosterone levels are at an all-time low. Individual T levels decline 1% every year. Chalk, CHOQ, is the new champion of natural testosterone boosters. Chalk's main ingredient is clinically studied to naturally boost testosterone 20% in 90 days. Supercharge your masculinity and boost your daily energy with Chalk's Male Vitality Stack. For a limited time, our listeners will get 30% off at CHOQ.com with promo code USA. CHOQ.com, code USA.
At Simply Safe Home Security, your safety is the only thing that matters. That's why you get 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day, because every home deserves to be protected. Right now, get 50% off the whole home security system named the best of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. Visit simplysafe.com/radio to save big today. Advanced Home Security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. A storm is on the horizon. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for storms and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000, 630-834-6000, or charlesequipment.com.
Thanksgiving is right around the corner, a true feast for the senses. And this year, there's even more to be thankful for. This year, I discovered something that's been a game changer for my health. 120 Life Juice Drink. But it's not just their amazing juice that keeps my blood pressure in check. Now they offer a new powdered version of 120 Life, making it easier than ever to take control of my health on the go and while I'm traveling. It's the same great taste, the same natural ingredients, the same heart-healthy benefits as the juice, but now in a convenient powdered form. This Thanksgiving, amidst the laughter, the joy, and the chaos, I'm grateful for my health and for discovering 120 Life, the natural solution for high blood pressure. I want you to try it. Order a 2-week trial pack today, and if it's not for you, you get your money back, and that's guaranteed. Order now, the juice drink or the powdered mix. Visit 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Coupon code LIBERTY saves you 15%. Order now. You'll be thankful you did. Here's to a healthy, happy holiday season from my friends at 120 Life.
Exergen thermometers are a top choice of medical professionals at highly ranked hospitals across the U.S. Accuracy matters, so make Exergen the chosen thermometer for your home and family.
6:40. Let's check our roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Eden's at 34, Lake Cook Road to the junction, the Kennedy. It's an hour already from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Stevenson jammed up between Damon and the Dan Ryan, 47 into Lakeshore Drive. 25 from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange on the inbound Dan Ryan. Tri-State accident, 2 left lanes blocked northbound between I-55, the Stevenson, and Ogden Avenue. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds on the increase today. Warm by the afternoon. We'll top out at 66 with a low of 45 overnight with rain showers developing. 47 at O'Hare, 47 Midway, 37 in Aurora. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Dan, real quick, our general manager's here, and he said the word progressivism. What's it called?
Proposivism?
Proposivism is another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Yes, true.
Thank you.
So many things, because I'm more consumed with proposivism than
chicks.
Than any non-federal judicial nominee should be. Fair point. Coming on, before we get to BLM Brandon and what you mentioned and what Mike Scott reported on this master plan for migrants forthcoming, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen. That's Mark Wayne, one name, 2 first names contained in one name, no hyphen. It's Mark Wayne.
Mark Wayne.
Actually, it wasn't even Mullen, does he? He's just Mark Wayne.
That's all you need to know. MMA fighter. Or
Our
former.
parents had John Wayne. We've got Mark Wayne. Mark Wayne continued to defend his confrontation with Teamsters goon Sean O'Brien at that Senate hearing the other day. He did so yesterday on CNN. He's not backing down from Sean O'Brien. He's not backing down from Bernie Sanders. He's not backing down from CNN.
Well, Abraham Lincoln challenged a guy to a sword fight. You had a duel. You've seen the bloodstains on the steps in the Capitol.
Sumner.
And I'm not saying that has to happen, but I'm saying that people like him, this mob mentality Teamster boss that wants to sit there and continue to do that because he thinks he can intimidate people, at some point that has to stop too, because I'm not supposed to just sit there and absorb it. Mm-hmm. He needs to be called out for his actions. The fortunately thing is I'm capable of doing it. What about the people that can't? I can do something about it, and maybe I can stop him from doing it again. What are you supposed to do with bullies? Ignore them or stand up to them?
Well,
and he's a bully, and I wanted to stand up to him. I've never bullied anybody in my life. I stood up to a lot of people. I've been bullied myself. I was born with with bad legs and had braces on my legs and had a super bad speech impediment until I was in grade school. I understand what bullying is. I learned how to do one thing because I couldn't argue with you and I couldn't run from you because I had bad legs at the time. I learned how to fight. I'm not saying that's the answer to every issue, but I did learn one thing. If you push back at a bully, typically they'll shut their mouth up. You know what Sean did? He didn't stand up. He had the fear of God in his eyes. And I guarantee he won't do that again to me.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. He's not saying that it has to come to duels, but he's not saying it doesn't either, which I appreciate. No, of course, his comments were, I think, very well considered. I'd be a hypocrite since I've done something similar to
Twice.
Politicians, that if I didn't support that, but I do support it, and I think he has a point too with respect to people standing up for themselves and standing up to people who think that they can slime you under cover of social media, who think that, and then you do these kind of showy events where you pretend like, we're going to have substantive discussions because this is a substantive person. The main service he provided, Mark Wayne provided, is just pulling back the curtain. It's like, I'm not going to participate in this performance. I know who you are, and I know who you are based on your conduct. And so let's talk about your conduct, and then we can talk about public policy too. But I'm not going to pretend that you're a good faith actor representative of the working men and women and the Teamsters. I'm going to tell people who you actually are. And in the process, I'm going to stand up for myself and see if who you say you are is really who you are when confronted with that challenge. I love it. I really do. And it's not because I'm promoting, bar fighting in the Senate, okay? But I think there's something to what Mark Wayne had to say, even, setting aside his, personal story about, I guess, being bullied and teased as a kid. I mean,
Sure,
who
he was
wasn't?
if he had braces on his legs and he had a stutter,
But I mean, but
Right.
who wasn't? Who wasn't for some
And
reason?
I was bullied. Were you bullied? I was. Everybody was bullied.
I was made fun of.
Okay. Oh.
I still am made fun of. That's part of life. All this bullying, everything is bullying. Yeah, I was made fun of, and I stand up for myself. That's what you're taught. That's like the lifelong lesson. That's what we were all taught.
Well, I
stand up for yourself.
Yeah, just let men be men. I mean, if those two want to fight, let them fight.
Well, here's the thing, too.
They didn't have to fight on the Senate floor. They could have taken. Well, they weren't on the Senate floor, but in the hearing, they could have taken it outside.
Well, that's what
Right.
that's what Mark Wayne offered.
Right. And I stand with him.
Here's the thing, too, about this. The other thing he exposed, which I really appreciate. I said this yesterday, but let me put a fine point on it. I have no issue with trade unionists, and most conservatives don't. Carpenters, plumbers, Teamsters, electricians, operating engineers, stationary engineers, so on and so forth. Mostly decent people doing honorable work just like every other profession. But, here's the but. But the bosses of some of these unions, not all, some of the bosses of some of these unions, like this Sean O'Brien guy, with their phony brotherhood rap, who get run by gender-fluid pronoun Stasi types and shout your abortion suburban awfuls while presenting as rough and tumble Johnny Lunch Pails, they're insufferable. They're insufferable frauds. And O'Brien got exposed as one of those insufferable frauds. And for that reason, Mark Wayne did a service. Okay. I've had my say. Speaking of getting pushed around and pushing back, BLM Brandon apparently is playing political hardball with some of the alderhumans And one alderhuman who has not exactly been a profile in courage, he's not somebody I've otherwise been complimentary of previously. This guy Carlisle Group scion who ran against Kim Foxx, ran a really weak, tepid campaign against Kim Foxx in the Democrat primary. Now he's a 34th Ward alderman.
Conway.
Yeah, Bill Conway. He came out, rather than playing the game the way that these Marxist goons want to play it, and they're so ham-handed about it. There's like no finesse from these people. Of course there's not.
No.
And so you have to respond accordingly, and he has. So Conway is pushing for some action to be taken with respect to the viaduct under the tracks at Clinton and Fulton in his district.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. It's disgusting.
Right.
It's a huge homeless encampment.
Yeah. It's one resident saying it started out as a couple of tents, and now it's uncontainable. So Conway said he took those concerns to BLM Brandon's henchman,
Jason Lee.
And he was told that the conditions for solving this problem at Clinton and Fulton depended on his votes for raising the real estate transfer tax.
I mean,
and also the wage increase for tipped employees.
Yeah, we'll help you out. We'll clean up the mess, but you have to vote in favor of both of these issues.
He didn't vote for either.
Good.
And as a result, the city's plan to remove some of the drug dealing that's going on in this tent city at Clinton and Fulton were scrapped. And now he's saying so publicly, which is the right thing to do. So, I mean, he didn't challenge BLM Brandon to, take it on to LaSalle Street and hash it out. He didn't have to. But this is another illustration of the same sort of thing. Expose people for what they're doing. I mean, is that the way that BLM Brandon is going to do it? I mean, power politics is nothing new. But you can, sort of exist under the thumb of local despot, the king of the feudal lords, or you can push back against the king and inform the public about how they operate, and that's what Conway has done by going public with this, and that's a good thing.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. Yeah, Marian Ahern interviewed him and Jason Lee, and they just, he said exactly, like, I'm not going to be pushed around. I'm here. We need to clean up this area, and I'm not going to vote for either of those issues. Came out and said that flat out, and Jason Lee's reasoning was just a bunch of gobbledygook.
Well, of course, because he didn't
knows that he's wrong. He got caught.
He didn't expect it to be, put to him, and
yeah.
But so
is that the way they do business in Chicago always?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it's written in the stars that it always has to be that way, and everybody has to play along. Some people can say no. No is not something you hear very often in Chicago. So that brings us to this plan that is, as per usual, ill-defined because this is seat of their pants kind of stuff. But this 60-day limit on shelter stays, that's the new big idea coming from BLM Brandon for dealing with the migrants, dealing with, his word, the burden.
The burden yes.
of migrants.
Well, Governor Pritzker is having a press conference at 10 a.m. to outline new procedures for migrants because I think that they know the Democrats, their base is turning on them on this issue. So now they're doing something. Don't mind the residents who have tents packed, right, or set up right in front of their houses. This is the issue. So now there's 60-day limit for migrants in city shelters, but it's a tier system. So if you prove, Dan, to them that you're looking for a job or trying to find housing, they'll let you stay a little longer. But the problem is we're running out of shelters. The problem is the tent cities, the one at 115th and Halstead, will not be ready until June. The one at 38th in California, now they're doing environmental testing on it to see if it's safe because it's been an industrial site since 1938. So, and in the meantime, you have 1,800 people who are still waiting to get into shelters, and those are the people that are staying at the airport and that are staying at police stations and are staying in tents outside of police stations.
Well, the other problem is the 60 days is just like an arbitrary arbitrary time period.
It's like COVID, 10 days, 15 days.
60 days to ease the transition to work and sustainability. Really? You think you're going to go from a tent to a job with income where you can live independently without city provisions in 60 days? You think 20,000 migrants, or whatever the number is, that you think that's going to happen?
Also,
There's no way that's going to happen.
Yeah, one of my sources told me, too, that Governor Pritzker is going to talk about a plan to bus people or take them to different towns that they may want to live in. So that sounds an awful lot like Eric Adams, who's willing to fly people anywhere but inside of New York, doesn't it?
You know what else sounds like? It sounds like a lot Governor Abbott and Governor DeSantis. Isn't that what Governor Abbott and Governor DeSantis did?
Yeah.
You want to go to Chicago? Yes. Okay, we'll send you.
You can go to anywhere but somewhere inside of the state because we're busing at the Rams.
So when Governor Abbott and Governor DeSantis do it, it's kidnapping, it's human trafficking. When Eric Adams, Brandon Johnson, and J.B. Pritzker do it, it's being welcoming.
And this is my favorite because you know how some buses just drop off people randomly at random times? Say, like the Sears Tower, remember that a few weeks ago? In the middle of the night, people just got dropped off there. They want to have certain times set up in certain locations to receive migrants. Okay. I don't know how you're going to regulate that, but all right.
A handful of black Chicagoans had a little impromptu press conference outside the office of 5th Ward Alderman Desmond Yancey, calling out that alderman and other aldermen and the mayor over the issue of provisions for migrants versus provisions for Chicagoans. And they had a bill of particulars. Take a listen.
We demand that the aldermen vote no on the budget that includes an additional $150 million or more, or any amount for immigrants, because these are taxpayers' dollars. We demand a funded office of freedmen for black descendants of American chattel slavery. We support the candidacy of Republicans, Independents, and Democrats who oppose sanctuary cities. We demand that you support Illinois African American for equitable redistricting map and Standing Committee for Black Student Achievement. And we demand that the land grab of senior citizens' homes and to replace us with illegal immigrants. Those are our demands. And this is what we expect our elected officials to do. They are not representing us. They are representing everybody else but us.
They're representing everybody else but us. Now, I don't agree with everything on that list of demands, but and it's just a handful of black residents. I'm not saying it's some sort of groundswell, but it is interesting to hear black residents articulating a version of the Great Replacement theory. Did you catch that?
It shows they demand Democrats to end sanctuary city policies. And they're threatening to vote Republican or Independent. Hello.
Chris and Carrie, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. I want to know where they're getting these tents. Who's buying them for them? Who's selling them? And what company is it? Because I want to buy stock. It's going to skyrocket.
It's Garda World. Garda World. And I saw, Dan, I saw a Garda World truck in Elk Grove yesterday. I'm going to just start snapping pictures of them. It's so strange.
Well, Garda World doesn't just do, tent city base camps. That's a big operation. But, yeah, I mean.
They had fancy vehicles, and then one looks intimidating.
I just hope somebody at that Pritzker press conferences asks him if he can distinguish between his offer to send migrants to other places they may want to go from the same offer that Abbott and DeSantis made to migrants who came here and decided they wanted to come to Chicago. That'd be fascinating to hear that answer. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Homeowners, are you feeling the weight of credit card debt and high mortgage insurance payments? There's great news for you. Home values have increased, and it's time to leverage that to your advantage. Welcome to the Home Value Refinance Solution from Townstone Financial. Your home's increasing value presents an incredible opportunity. With Townstone's Home Value Refinancing Solution, you can use this newfound equity to consolidate high-interest credit card debt and say goodbye to burdensome mortgage insurance payments. Imagine freeing yourself from financial stress. Townstone's experienced team will help you navigate the refinancing process process, unlocking the potential in your increased home value. Seize this opportunity. Use the extra equity to reinvest in your home, take that long-awaited vacation, or simply build your savings for the future. Don't let this chance slip away. Call Townstone today at 312-896-2110 or go to townstone.com to explore how your increased home value can transform your financial future. Townstone Financial is an Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois mortgage licensee 6629 MLS 136639, equal housing lender.
Did you know most vitamin supplements have a warning label on the back? That's because without the synergy of thousands of nutrients working together that are found naturally in whole fruits and vegetables, vitamins are not balanced. This is why Balance of Nature only uses whole fruits and vegetables, no isolates or synthetic vitamins of any kind. We take a variety of 31 of the highest quality fruits and vegetables and remove the water without changing the rich chemistry. It's then ground to a powder, blended to perfection, and encapsulated, preserving the nutrients and making it easy to get the fruits and vegetables you need. So even though Balance of Nature comes in a capsule and looks like a vitamin, it's very different. Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to economist Steve Moore about the Biden-Xi meeting, 7:07.
Breezy, warm, a high of 66 degrees at 7 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
Violent pro-Palestinian protests in Washington, D.C. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. 6 police officers were treated for injuries. 1 protester is arrested for assaulting an officer. It started as a candlelight vigil outside the Democratic National Committee headquarters, with party representatives and candidates inside for a reception.
The protesters said they wanted to block entrances and exits to the DNC headquarters to force the politicians to hear their calls for a ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries was one of those inside. Officers directed lawmakers to the basement, and some were evacuated in police vehicles. U.S. Capitol Police say about 150 people were, quote, illegally and violently protesting, but demonstrators blamed the violence on officers they say rushed them without warning. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Fox's Trey Yingst was taken into a Gaza hospital raided by Israeli troops.
In the radiology department, soldiers point to piles of weapons and Hamas booklets as evidence the building was used for military purposes. Behind an MRI machine, more guns and ammunition the Israelis say are part of Hamas grab bags that were feet away from injured Palestinians. As part of our embed, Israeli forces controlled what areas of the hospital we could report from.
And Hamas accused the Israeli military of planting those weapons. President Biden says he and China's President Xi made progress during a 4-hour conversation in California. There's still competition.
But we'll manage that competition responsibly so it doesn't veer into conflict or accidental conflict. And where it's possible, where our interests coincide, we're going to work together like we did on fentanyl.
President Xi promising to crack down on fentanyl production and exports to the United States. The mother of a then 6-year-old boy who shot and wounded his teacher in Newport News, Virginia in January is sentenced in federal court to 21 months in prison for using marijuana while owning a firearm. Child neglect charges are still pending. America's listening to Fox News.
.47 degrees in Chicago. Mostly clear skies this morning. Headed for some rain showers and clouds later in the day. 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Mayor Brandon Johnson celebrating passage of his first budget.
You all know what's in this budget. We did everything I said I would do. I kept my word.
City Council approving his more than $16 billion 2024 spending plan on a 41-8 vote. Following passage of his first budget, the mayor unveiled changes in the treatment and housing of illegal migrants in the city. Johnson says his new plan will give migrants 60-day limits in city-run shelters, and there will be dedicated entry points for any asylum seekers.
Making those investments on the front end, we have to make, with the resources that we are providing, we have to make sure that we're setting these families and these individuals up to actually contribute so that we can actually have a return on that investment.
And the mayor is just 6 months into his new term, but according to a new poll, residents are very unhappy with his performance. Dylan Sharkey of the Illinois Policy Institute says Johnson has one of the lowest approval ratings in history.
Mayor Brandon Johnson has the lowest approval rating for a new mayor. Only 3 times since 1979 has the Chicago mayor's approval rating dipped below 30%.
Family members are demanding prosecutors do their jobs after a man was killed, his brother critically wounded in a shooting this past weekend in Chicago's Humboldt Park neighborhood.
My sons didn't deserve this. They're out here trying to work for a living.
Tremont Thomas and his brother Terrence were shot delivering food on Saturday. Tremont died at a hospital, his brother hospitalized in critical condition. Father of the Highland Park shooting suspect is behind bars. Robert Cremo Jr. turned himself in yesterday to begin his 60-day jail sentence. A Des Plaines woman is suing Frontier Airlines. Shannon O'Brien filed suit this week accusing the airline of losing her custom wheelchair before returning it damaged several days later.
I'm doing this not just on behalf of myself, but so no one else has to go through this.
The suit claims O'Brien was without her wheelchair for 2 days after her Frontier flight last year was forced to make an emergency landing. Bulls lost to Orlando at the buzzer 96-94. Blackhawks on the ice against Tampa Bay tonight. Bears going with Justin Fields at quarterback when they take on the Lions this weekend. The news service of PKF Mueller's CPA, professionals, business, and financial advisors. Ready and willing to help with record-keeping, expense reduction, budgeting, and more. Visit online today, pkfmueller.com, pkfmueller.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Would you like to have your mortgage or rent paid for all of 2024? Yeah, that sounds like a Christmas miracle, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly what AM 560, The Answer, wants to do for you. Go to 560theanswer.com/miracle to enter our Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest. Enter once per day, every day, between now and December 20th, and you can have your rent or mortgage paid for all of next year. Go to 560theanswer.com/miracle.
All right, Christmas will be here before we know it. If you're looking for a really special gift, I encourage you to check out the firearms made right here in America by our great friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, you start by going to their website, henryusa.com, order their free holiday gift guide, and they'll mail it with free decals that you can use for stocking stuffers. Perfect timing. Folks, when you give someone a Henry, you're giving them a work of art that is built with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen as a collector. Now, their performance is top-notch. Mine were accurate, all of them, right out of the box. They shoot smooth and straight, and they have been reliable ever since. They have over 200 models of rifles and shotguns and revolvers to choose from. One of the things I like the most about these firearms, they're family heirlooms. They'll always be backed by the company's lifetime warranty. So if you want to put something that's made in America under the tree this Christmas, henryusa.com. Get their free gift guide and their decals today. That's henryusa.com. You will love this company.
Eating balance of nature, fruits and veggies, is not replacing the fruits and vegetables in your diet. It is fruits and vegetables in your diet. Ask yourself, how many servings of fruits and vegetables have I eaten today? Have you eaten 1, 2, 3, and from how many varieties? Most people are less than 3. Our body is an amazing chemical laboratory, and when you give it the right chemistry, it functions the best. Balance of Nature is 31 different fruits and vegetables prepared in a way to give you the ultimate whole fruit and vegetable chemistry. Let Balance of Nature help you supplement your fruit and vegetable intake for a lot less money and a lot less work and a much higher quality of life.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
It is 7:07. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And on the Edens, 34 minutes, Lake Cook Road into the junction. The Kennedy stop and slow all the way in, 77 into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike at an hour, 390 into the old post office, heavy and slow through the avenues. Stevenson, 46 in from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, while the Dan Ryan, 26 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A breezy day, clouds will increase. It'll be warm. High today, 66. Breezy this evening, cloudy with a couple of showers moving in late, low 45. Morning shower in spots tomorrow, then clouds and sun, the high at 48. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
47 at O'Hare, 47 Midway, and 51 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So you had this Potemkin village set up to welcome the arrival of Chinese communists, starting with President Xi. I mean, that's the least that California communists could do, a little bit of mutual admiration since they're reading from the same red book. But it didn't go quite as well as Governor Patrick Bateman and Mayor London Breed wanted.
Oh, it didn't.
Czech TV journalist Bashumil Vostal was capturing what he thought would be a majestic shot, San Francisco's iconic City Lights bookstore steeped in the gathering dusk, when three masked assailants approached with guns pointed. They were heading at my cameraman, aiming a gun at his stomach, one at my head, he said in an interview. The thieves grabbed $18,000 worth of equipment, including a camera, lights, and a tripod, jumped into a getaway car as the Czech journalist futilely tried to memorize the license plate. They took my research, my time, my ideas. You know, that's why I'm angry, you know. Hey, welcome to the party, member of the Czech press corps. You remember, we talked about our friend Eli Steele. Eli Steele and his dad, Shelby, the great Steele family, doing a documentary work for their forthcoming documentary in San Francisco, and they got their car broken into and all their camera equipment stolen. This is just de rigueur for big city living. That's what we're told. You know, and again, I can't think of San Francisco and everything that's going on and not also bring up the memory of Katie Steinle, because Katie Steinle, who was killed by a person who shouldn't have been in this country, really provided some focus for the Trump administration when it came to not only highlighting angel parents who lost a family member because of someone in this country legally taking their life, but also the larger issue of border security, which continues, which has reached new levels of chaos, obviously, under this administration after there was some regression to the mean coming out of Obama and into Trump.
I just thought Biden looked so weak, and they were just praising him and falling all over President Xi. I mean, listen to Governor Newsom. Okay, he's spitting in the face of Californians and business owners who have asked, you know, for years to clean up the streets. But then he added something.
Anytime you put on an event, by definition, you know, you have people over your house. You're going to clean up the house. You're going to make sure the kids, you know, make their beds. Yeah. I was just with President Xi. First thing he talked about was San Francisco. First thing he remembered was the Golden Gate Bridge when he was here in 1985. Should have seen the smile on his face. I mean, this place is beloved, and its best days are in front of it, not behind it.
Oh, really?
Exactly. And then they took a moonlight stroll and made out.
Yeah. And then a news crew got held up at gunpoint. Yeah. Best days are behind, in front of us. Mm-hmm.
For more on the momentous Biden-Xi confab, we're pleased to be joined by Steve Moore, economist, Govzilla author. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, I just can't get that image of Xi and Gavin Newsom making out out of my mind.
I think they made out.
Well,
jealous?
You said he's a handsome man.
Oh, Amy.
Too soon. Sorry.
But you know what? I can top, that story about all the crime in San Francisco and the filth in San Francisco. We can top that in Washington D.C. I don't know if you guys saw the story that the carjackers tried to carjack the cars of the Secret Service.
Yes.
Secret Service.
Naomi.
Regarding Biden's granddaughter, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
They
she'll
ever
be.
catch those guys?
If anything, she better make sure he's got his head on a swivel while he's in San Francisco. Don't get too lost in the Golden Gate Bridge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we joke about this, but it really is a tragedy. I mean, have you guys been to San Francisco lately?
Yes, I was there a year and a half ago, and I will never ever go back. I saw things I don't want to see.
Yeah, and it's much worse today than it was a year and a half ago. I mean, it is the ruination of one of America's, greatest cities. And, obviously people listening to the show can know what I'm talking about because, the same thing is happening in a little bit more of a slow motion direction in the great city of Chicago. But you get these progressive, left-wing, anti-crime and, anti-law enforcement mayors and city councils. And these cities go to crap. And, we had an item in our hotline the other day, guys, that you look at the 5 of the, biggest blue cities in America. I think it was New York, San Francisco, Minneapolis, Chicago, and I forget what the 5th one was. Every one of them has seen anywhere between a 1/3 and 50% reduction in what's called foot traffic in the downtown areas. Now, why does that matter? Because think of the impact that's having on the small businesses, the restaurants, the stores. People aren't going into the cities. They can't buy things in the cities. So it's sad to see our great, once mighty and beautiful cities being destroyed by progressive policies. And what's scary is that I think there's a good chance that Gavin Newsom could be the Democratic nominee. Is he going to do for the country, Amy, what he's done for San Francisco?
That's why I wanted people to hear that soundbite because it's such a slap in the face for Californians. And because they've been begging him, please, business owners who people are defecating in front of their store and they're sick of it. And then the one guy, he sprayed the homeless guy to get him out. And then he gets in trouble for doing that.
Yeah. And by the way, you don't have a right to free speech anymore in San Francisco, but you do have a right to defecate in front of on the street corners. And I mean, it's so awful, and it's so easy to fix these things. I mean, no matter what people think of Rudy Giuliani and his behavior lately, what he did in New York when he came in, that's why he became America's mayor. Is he turned that city around in 2 years?
But where did all those homeless people go that they displaced? And I can't wait. And people better be on this to see how soon it is till they come back to the spots that they were once in before the president's visit.
Yeah, isn't that what the communists do? Like if the foreign leaders come in, they get rid of all the bad. Don't let them see what's going on over here, and that's exactly what's happening. But by the way, the same thing's happening in Oakland. The same thing's happening in Sacramento. The same thing's happening in Los Angeles, although at a little bit milder pace. But it's sad because I love these great cities. I do. I'm a big fan of Chicago, but I see the same thing.
Well, Grigory Potemkin was a Russian military leader. that's the reference to the Potemkin city that they set up. Yeah, right.
That's a great point, Dan.
So was there anything? I know there was the photo op and the we're going to come together to ban the distribution of the production and distribution of fentanyl. Is there anything that you gleaned from the reporting on the conversation from Biden and Xi that has any relevance to America's economic vitality?
Yes, I learned some very, very good news, really good news, that President Xi is very serious about doing something about climate change.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's
okay.
But they said they're not. I mean, curbing fentanyl production. Hey, what does that mean?
Well, this is the thing about the difference between, this is, we believe in realism, what's really happening, and they believe in propaganda. And so, there's only 2 people in the world who actually believe when President Xi says, oh, yes, we're going to reduce our carbon emissions. Well, the first one is Joe Biden. The second one is John Kerry, who's the climate czar. But by the way, you guys know this. I've said it many times on your show. They're building a new coal plant every 3 weeks in China. And so that doesn't sound like they're getting serious about fighting climate change.
And John Kerry was at the table yesterday,
Okay.
By the way, I think they should be, I think, number one, there's a big movement, to force China to pay reparations for what they did with COVID, whether it was accidental or whether it's intentional, and everybody has different opinions about that. We now do know pretty definitively that this was released from these from these labs in Beijing, and they have to pay for what they did to the world. And I don't know if that's hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars, but they covered it up, and that's number one. Number two, this is like hugging. This is like Neville Chamberlain in 1939.
Peace in our time, right? But there's no indication that COVID compensation was part of the conversation.
Oh, I'm sure it was not.
Right. Yeah, I just want to make that clear. Yeah, I mean,
they didn't talk about the spy balloon either.
Yeah, if you're trying to placate your enemy, then you're not going to bring up those kind of sticky subjects. I mean, whether you like Donald Trump or not, and one thing I did like about Donald Trump was he stood toe-to-toe with President Xi, and he was the first one to call them out for the tyrannical communist regime that they are. And you have to be tough with these people. I don't care if they like us. I just want them to fear us and not to invade Taiwan. I mean, I think probably President Xi's going to go back. Remember that old story about Khrushchev? And he came back from his, visit the U.S. and he said, we're going to bury them. I think that's what President Xi's thinking right now. We're going to bury these people. We don't have a serious precedent.
Speaking of totalitarian gambits, the FCC, we mentioned this yesterday, and this is not getting the attention it deserves, particularly given pronouncements from Republican presidential candidates like Nikki Haley, who seem to be aligned to some extent. The Biden administration quietly, under the auspices of equity, moving to commandeer the internet.
Yep. It's a big story. It is a big story. And what they're doing is that it's all in the name of, as you said, equity and anti-discrimination. So they're basically saying, okay, you want to build a cell tower or an internet, a reception area. It has to be. We have to make sure that this area covers enough Black people and Hispanic people and this kind of people and that kind of people. And this is absurd. We want we can have everyone with internet access in this country and high speed, but to have the job of the Federal Communications Commission is not to be some social welfare agency.
Well, and the implications that moving in this direction would have with respect to freedom online, that's the big question. I mean, in addition to the spend, in addition to the power grab, what would the implication be? Because it's not just about communication, it's also about commerce.
Yeah, and look, here's the thing. This is a really important point. I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but I want to say it again. In the 1990s, even under Bill Clinton, who was a Democrat, but the Republicans and the Democrats got together, and for once they did something right. They said, "Hey, we got this new incredible technology. We're gonna just let it be the Wild West. We're gonna make it regulation free and lawsuit free, and we're going to make it tax free." And what happened? The United States became the massive technological leader. We had the biggest spread of internet access, in the history of mankind in a very rapid period. And guess what? We did that without the government. So now the government's going to intervene and say, "Oh, we're going to make sure that everybody has internet." Blah blah blah. I mean, it's just get the government out of the way of the technology industry and the internet, and we'll be fine. But I'm also worried about what this will mean for free speech on the internet.
Speaking of Republicans and Democrats working together, what was your view on essentially, Speaker Johnson doing what Speaker McCarthy did, which is short-term CRs to move past any sort of budget showdown?
Well, look, I think this is about the best you're going to get, and there's nobody who wants to, take a chainsaw to the budget more than I do. I mean, we're borrowing $2 trillion a year. It's outrageous. We're bankrupting our country. Everyone knows it. And yet you've got to again, you have to be a realist here. You've got the Republicans have a 4 or 5 seat majority out of 435 in the House, which is razor thin. And they don't have the Senate, and they don't have the White House. And so this is probably the best that you're going to get. And what the Republicans have to do is just say, look, if you think we're spending way too much money, which I bet 98% of the people listening to this show believe is true, then we need a new president. We have to get rid of this regime. And there's no way you're going to be able to bring the spending down as long as you have Joe Biden in the White House. But when we get Gavin Newsom there, that'll solve all the problems.
Steve Moore, economist, Govzilla author. Thanks as always, Steve.
Okay, guys, have a great day. Take care.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
If you're interested in learning about reverse mortgages, call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Tom Selleck is a very handsome man and a good actor who is a spokesperson for a reverse mortgage company. The biggest difference between us, other than I'm not handsome and I can't act, is that I've actually originated reverse mortgages and I don't need a teleprompter to talk about the many benefits of this amazing loan. If you've outlived your assets, have become your parents' caretaker and can't afford to pay their expenses, or you're a financial planner who would like to learn how to unlock your client's home equity tax-free so they don't have to deplete their assets you manage, then you need to call Team Hochberg or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of radio listeners understand the benefits of reverse mortgages, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. 855-563-2843 to unlock your home's equity or purchase a new home with a reverse mortgage. Lower.com, Equal Housing Lender, MLS 1124061.
All right. Have you been feeling the sting of cold floors when you step off the couch or get out of bed? Well, it's that time of year, but Permaseal has the permanent solution for you. It's called PermaFoam. Oh, yeah. I love PermaFoam. And from now until November 30th, you will receive $100 off PermaFoam insulation. Insulating your basement and crawl space is the most effective and worthwhile way to solve your cold floor problems. An untreated crawl space can rot your floor joists, breed mold, and increase your energy costs. For over 40 years, Roy Spencer and his team have helped 500,000 Chicagoland homeowners make their homes healthier and, guess what, more valuable. Be sure to check out their awesome reviews with Google and the BBB and schedule your free inspection. And don't forget about that $100 off any new estimate for PermaFoam. 800-421-SEAL, 800-421-7325. Or visit permaseal.net.
Calling all Patriots. Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Journey with me on the Patriots Alaska cruise in June 2024. We'll dive deep into geopolitical trends and unpack the influences shaping the world today. It's an incredible opportunity to engage with me and other Patriots on an epic 7-day journey. Witness the untouched wilderness of Alaska while discussing America's future. Join us from June 29th to July 6, 2024. Book online, patriotsalaskacruise.com.
Eating balance of nature, fruits and veggies, is not replacing the fruits and vegetables in your diet. It is fruits and vegetables in your diet. Ask yourself, how many servings of fruits and vegetables have I eaten today? Have you eaten 1, 2, 3, and from how many varieties? Most people are less than 3. Our body is an amazing chemical laboratory, and when you give it the right chemistry, it functions the best. Balance of Nature is 31 different fruits and vegetables prepared in a way to give you the ultimate whole fruit and vegetable chemistry. Let Balance of Nature help you supplement your fruit and vegetable intake for a lot less money and a lot less work and a much higher quality of life.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Barry, God has chosen you to have a son.
The greatest story ever told is now an epic Christmas musical for the whole family.
I want the mother found. You are in danger, Mary.
Starring Fiona Palomo, Milo Manheim, Lecrae, Joel Smallbone, and Academy Award nominee Antonio Banderas.
This child, what is his name?
Jesus.
Journey to Bethlehem. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. In theaters everywhere now. Soundtrack also available. Get tickets now at journeytobethlehem.com.
Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you. You've watched the news. Rising crime has been affecting our everyday lives in Illinois more and more these days. Blue Star Security can protect you, your business, or your place of worship. Blue Star Security is the only security company in Chicago with over 900 off-duty police officers, all W-2 employees.
I'm Jeffrey Salvetti, Vice President of Blue Star Security and a 15-year law enforcement veteran. The Blue Star team is made up of over 900 state-certified active and retired law enforcement professionals. We serve businesses and private organizations with supply chain and special event security, and also protect our loved ones at places of worship and schools all across the Chicagoland area. Blue Star Security's technology allows mobilization of off-duty officers quickly and efficiently. Our primary mission is to provide unparalleled protective services for each assignment with integrity while maintaining our commitment to community service in the Chicagoland area.
Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at bluestarsecurityllc.com. That's bluestarsecurityllc.com.
I love giving jewelry as a gift. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I want to tell you that Roland's Jewelers is the perfect place for that magical holiday gift for someone you love. I'm always amazed by their 5-star Google reviews. I love that they're family-owned. Hey, getting engaged? Well, Roland's Jewelers has a large selection of both mined and lab-grown diamonds at great prices. Choose from beautifully crafted engagement rings from designer Simon G. or Italian designer Roberto Coin, offering stunning diamond pendants and earrings. How about a Tag Heuer watch with cutting-edge technology? Listen, I've been a customer of Roland's Jewelers for a long time. You should too. They're so impressive. Their staff is expertly trained. I encourage you to visit Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville or visit rolandsjewelers.com. That's ROLLANDS, rolandsjewelers.com. Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust this holiday, just like I do.
Are you looking for a way to preserve our founding history and American spirit for generations to come? Look no further than the blueprints of Liberty Brick. Each brick you purchase helps build Liberty Village, a family destination where youth and families will encounter history like never before. You'll feel a sense of pride and belonging when you see your name engraved on a brick in Liberty Village. The Blueprints of Liberty Brick is a way to leave your mark on the future while preserving our nation's rich heritage. Liberty Village will impact hundreds of thousands of visitors, capturing the lives, moments, and stories of the greatest men and women in our nation's founding history. Join us in creating a legacy for generations to come. Visit UnitedWePledge.org today to order your Blueprints of Liberty Brick and learn more about this monumental project.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We have 2 bona fide celebrities on the show today. I'm pretty geeked about it. I mean, in addition to yourself, of course. Amy.
Well, of course, yourself as well.
Vincent Vargas, Gilly from Mayans. He is also somebody who served in our military and served as a Border Patrol agent. He's going to talk about his new book. And then at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour, we have NBAer Jonathan Isaac, who joins us.
Forward, yeah.
Yeah, talk about his new line of shoes and athletic wear. But first, The Border with Vincent Vargas at 7:37.
I'm going to ask Jonathan Isaac about the motion offense. All right, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
47 degrees at 7:31. Capitol Police officers say one person was arrested. It follows pro-Palestinian and pro-Hamas terror protests outside Democrat Party headquarters in Washington, D.C.
We know that there are a number of folks all across different cities, including Washington, D.C., who are in support of demanding this ceasefire, and we know that it's urgent. We know that it needs to be, it's a demand that needs to be met now.
Rioters got into a shoving match with Capitol officers, leading to an arrest being made and pepper spray used. Multiple raids across Germany today against suspected pro-Iranian activists. Fox's Jonathan Savage.
Police have raided 54 locations across Germany as part of investigations into an organization called the IZH, Islamic Center Hamburg. German intelligence says the group's been on its radar for some time, suspected of trying to spread the ideology of Iran's Islamist government. Authorities are also looking into suspicions the IZH has been supporting Hezbollah, the Iran-backed militant group which in recent weeks has traded fire with Israeli forces from across the border in Lebanon. We have the Islamist scene in our sights, warns Interior Minister Nancy Faeser. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
The Senate has passed a stopgap bill to fund the government and avoid a government shutdown.
We must finish passing President Biden's emergency supplemental with aid to Israel, Ukraine, humanitarian assistance for innocent civilians in Gaza, and funds for the Indo-Pacific.
The vote was 87-11. That was Senator Chuck Schumer. President Biden says his meetings with Chinese President Xi were constructive and productive.
That's been cut off, and it's been very worrisome. That's how accidents happen, misunderstandings. So we're back to direct, open, clear, direct communications on a direct basis.
Unionized Starbucks baristas going on strike for one day. Thousands across the nation will hit the picket lines on the company's Red Cup Day, where the company gives out holiday-themed reusable cups. The ICC is expected to vote today in Springfield on a massive NICOR gas rate increase that could jack up your bill by as much as $9 a month. The ICC will also weigh in whether to approve rate hikes for customers of Ameren, Peoples Gas, and North Shore Gas. Mayor Brandon Johnson celebrating passage of his first budget.
You all know what's in this budget. We did everything I said I would do. I kept my word.
The spending plan yesterday passed on a 41-8 vote. Chicago's on pace for nearly 80,000 major crimes in 2023. Dylan Sharkey of the Illinois Policy Institute says Mayor Brandon Johnson now has one of the lowest approval ratings in history.
Mayor Brandon Johnson has the lowest approval rating for a new mayor. Only 3 times since 1979 has a Chicago mayor's approval rating dipped below 30%.
Family members are demanding prosecutors do their jobs after a man was killed, his brother critically wounded in a shooting this past weekend in Chicago's Humboldt Park neighborhood.
My sons didn't deserve this. They're out here trying to work for a living.
Tremont Thomas and his brother Terrence were shot delivering food on Saturday. Chicago sports, Bulls lost at the buzzer to Orlando 96-94. Blackhawks on ice taking on Tampa Bay tonight. Bears going with Justin Fields at quarterback Sunday against the Lions. The news, a service of Health Insurance Mentors. Call Stephen Tucker today for free Medicare advice. Visit healthinsurancementors.com or call 630-674-1551. 630-674-1551. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum worries about our involvement.
You have these foreign countries burning American embassies. You have out of significant footprints of Iran partnering in some way with Hamas in the attack in Israel. And I think that we're going to be forced to put our hands in this stuff.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Tony Dreyfus, founder and president of Metropolis Coffee Company and a proud new customer of Signature Bank. We're a 19-year-old specialty coffee roaster located in the heart of Chicago. Some of your favorite restaurants and cafes serve our coffee. As a small business manufacturer, we understand the importance of working with the right bank, and that's why we made the move to Signature Bank. We were tired of the impersonal service that our large bank had provided. A friend referred us to Signature Bank, and their team was on site to understand our operations firsthand. They provided us the working capital to continue our successful business operations and to fuel our ambitions for innovation and growth. We now have the flexibility to grow at our own pace. That personal touch, you can't find that at a large bank, but we found it at Signature, and we can't thank them enough.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you looking for a way to preserve our founding history and American spirit for generations to come? Look no further than the blueprints of Liberty Brick. Each brick you purchase helps build Liberty Village, a family destination where youth and families will encounter history like never before. You'll feel a sense of pride and belonging when you see your name engraved on a brick in Liberty Village. The Blueprints of Liberty Brick is a way to leave your mark on the future while preserving our nation's rich heritage. Liberty Village will impact hundreds of thousands of visitors, capturing the lives, moments, and stories of the greatest men and women in our nation's founding history. Join us in creating a legacy for generations to come. Visit UnitedWePledge.org today to order your Blueprints of Liberty brick and learn more about this monumental project.
Do you have a home remodeling project you'd love to get done? This is your opportunity to lock in this year's pricing with Chicago's Design Build Dream Team. Forever Remodeling is now offering exceptional savings. Simply sign on by December 31st to avoid any price increases next year. At Forever Remodeling, their expert designers and installers will turn your dreams into reality. Act now and you'll not only protect yourself from future price increases, but also beat the rush and secure a preferred spot in their schedule. Call 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. Highly skilled to design and build.
Cable news. Noisy, out of touch, on repeat. Tired of all the lookalikes? So are we. Salem News Channel is here to change the game. Streaming 24/7, free on your TV with the greatest collection of conservative voices. Home to Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Like you, we say what's wrong and what's right. Unfiltered and unapologetic. Salem News Channel. We're the answer to the mainstream media. Learn more at snc.tv.
Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave. Don't treat yourself like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
It is 7:39. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. 37 in on the Edens, Lake Cook Road to the junction. Kennedy jammed up in the express. Delays all the way in 90 minutes from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike all jammed up from Mannheim into the old post office. That's a 60-minute trip. Ike outbound accident left lane block just after the old post office. The Stevenson is at an hour 8 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, 33, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Taking a look at the tri-state, you've got Gapers southbound to a northbound crash between the Reagan and Ogden. Tri-state northbound is where that accident site is. 2 left lanes blocked, northbound 294 between 87th and Ogden. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunshine and 64 today. Increasing clouds, warm and breezy throughout the day, and then a low of 46 overnight, and morning showers heading into Friday. Currently, we have 49 at O'Hare, 47 Midway, 50 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Amy, you know what that song is?
I think it has something to do with our next guest in the show that he's on.
Yeah, David Hidalgo's theme music for Mayans MC, which is a great. I mean, anybody who knows Sons of Anarchy knows Mayans MC because it was a
spin-off, right?
Spin-off, and it was excellent. It was a lot of fun. Both Sons and Mayans, they're basically like Shakespearean tragedies set in a modern context. They're really well written and well acted. They're good shows if you haven't watched them. Before we get to our next guest, yesterday, dovetails nicely into his book. Yesterday, there was a House Committee on Homeland Security hearing. The chairman of that committee is Mark Green, a Republican from Tennessee, and a retired Army major. And before the committee was FBI Director Christopher Wray and DHS Secretary Ali Mayorkas talking about border security in the context of national security and some of the pronouncements Wray has made in recent weeks about concerns that we have people on the terrorist watch list. We have people that are in this country that potentially may aim to do America harm, and we don't know exactly where they are. And there also seems to be some miscommunication, or lack of communication, probably is more accurate, between FBI, DHS, and Congress, which was also part of the discussion. But Green focused on the 1.8 to 2 million gotaways.
Jeez. From 160 different countries, by the way.
That have occurred during this presidency, and the implications.
The real number of gotaways is well over 2 million. Can the FBI guarantee the American people that known or suspected terrorists, including any from Hamas or other terror groups, are not amongst those gotaways?
Well, certainly the group of people that you're talking about are a source of great concern for us. That's why we're aggressively using all 56 of our joint terrorism task forces.
But there's really no way for you to guarantee that Hamas isn't in those.
Well, as you say, there's the unknown unknown and the known unknown.
Right.
But what I can tell you is that our 56 joint terrorism task forces are working their tails off to make sure that they suss out and identify potential terrorist suspects, whether they're on the watch list or not. I think greater fidelity about who's coming in this country and how they're getting in is essential to making sure we protect Americans from all sorts of threats, including a potential terrorist attack.
Yeah, I do too.
I can tell you that the threats that come from the other side of the border are very much consuming all 56 of our field offices, not just in the border states. That's why I made the point.
Sure, I agree. If I heard you correctly, what you just said is not every state in the country is a border state now. Is that what you just said?
Well, I didn't.
I mean, the threats
put it
to every
quite that
state.
way, but the threats that come from the other side of the border are affecting every state.
Absolutely.
Yeah, every state's a border state. Vincent Vargas served in Iraq and Afghanistan with the U.S. Army 2nd Battalion and 75th Ranger Regiment. He later served with Border Patrol and, of course, starred in the FX series Mayans MC as Gilly. Vincent Vargas, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, we're excited to have you here, too.
Sorry ATF killed you in the Mayans. Sorry about that.
And your spoiler alert. Hello.
But by the way, I failed to mention the bury the lead here. He's got a new book called Borderline: Defending the Home Front, and I want to talk about that and your experience before you got into the entertainment industry, because it seemed to me from what I've read about you that actually some of your experience in law enforcement, and certainly serving in the military, informed the character you played in Mayans.
Yeah, that is correct. You know, Elgin, an incredible mind, he asked me to kind of write up some of my own personal stories. I am an avid writer myself. My goal is to be a writer in Hollywood, and I just showed him my story. He's like, "You mind us using this for Gilly?" And I said, "Not at all." So they tweaked it. They changed it around a little bit, but the essence of Gilly was probably more of the essence of some of the harder things I've dealt with in life.
Such as what? Can you give us some examples?
Yeah, Gilly character struggled with post-traumatic stress due to some things that happened overseas. And that is no different than me personally in real life struggle with post-traumatic stress from stuff that happened overseas. And so some of the dialogue that you see in the film or in the TV show was genuine to my real story.
And yours is a complicated story, a lot of which is not unlike a lot of Americans. I mean, you had a grandma who came to the U.S. as an illegal immigrant. And so that informs, I suspect, your empathy for those who want to come to this country to build a better life. But at the same time, you have this experience serving in law enforcement, including at the border. And there's a recognition that we have to do things in a sensible way, as former acting ICE Director Tom Homan likes to say, safe borders save lives. So yes to those who are fleeing persecution, and yes to the legal process to bring people into this country who want to come and build a better life, but there has to be a process that's sensible and fair to do it.
Absolutely. I think, the argument is very divisive and everyone's very emotional on the topic, but my goal in writing this book is to really explain the foundation of the Border Patrol career field, so then at least they understand that part of this kind of puzzle. There's Homeland Security and immigration both have to be answered simultaneously at the same time, right? And so some people argue the Homeland Security, but they forget to argue for the immigration side of it. Some talk about open borders, but forget about Homeland Security. And so the answer for these conversations are usually in the middle. We have to have really strong Homeland Security policies, but we also have to have a good immigration policy that still allows people to come into this country, still allows people to seek asylum, but that doesn't mean allow everyone to come into this country and then just release into the nation, right? That's a danger. That means your dial is too far left where you're not allowing the focus of Homeland Security to continue. And so we definitely are facing some strange times here where we can't identify who has come into this country and those outliers who want to, do harm to this country.
And why do you think the Democrats are letting thousands of people in? Because yesterday the Speaker of the House, or 2 days ago, said, you're doing this to get votes, to build up your Democratic base. Do you believe that?
No, I try and stay out of the political argument because part of the reason for writing this book is we need to educate to really explain the process. As of now, what we have is a policy that's put in place that doesn't create deterrence. It actually feels more like an easy way to circumvent our system by processing them and then giving a notice to appear and released into the nation. So politically, left, right, doesn't matter. That situation right there does not work. It hasn't worked, and we are identifying what that can create is open. It's essentially opening us up to potential attacks. And so in that sense, that policy currently is what's hurting us. If you talk to I'll just real quick, where Trump's policies had repercussions for entering illegally, but also so did Obama's. And so it's just this very strange time now that there isn't a repercussion for entering illegally.
Give us some perspective, an overview of your time serving in Border Patrol.
Yeah, I was a Border Patrol agent from 2009 to 2015. I was a regular agent for 2 years in the Del Rio sector, and then I went into the Special Operations Department. I was a BORSTAR agent, which is a search, trauma, and rescue unit. I eventually became a TAC med specialist attached to BORTAC. And so in my career, I've done, a handful, I would say hundreds would probably be around the right number of rescues, whether it be search and rescue, swiftwater rescue, and search and rescue. On top of that, being attached with the BORTAC tactical team to disrupt trafficking organizations, drug trafficking organizations.
And how, give us a sense of sort of our resource allocation to secure border, at least to securing the border, at least during your time there, versus the job that Border Patrol has to do. Are those completely misaligned, or is it just a policy issue and we have the resources to secure the border if the policies were proper?
Right. I think there's a misconception that maybe the border's not doing their part, but currently we still have the fence, the wall. We still have cameras. We still have seismic meters. We still have strategically placed Border Patrol agents. The problem is that after the Border Patrol agents apprehend them, what is the policies after that? Are we detaining them? Are we housing them in humanitarian households or housing? And then how long are we holding them? Well, right now, it doesn't matter if the Border Patrol does their job. We still have to process, hand off to the next layer, which is ICE, and then ICE gets them to determine their housing, and then it goes to the immigration judge to make a determination of their case. And so if they're not going to get returned back to their country and they're here for humanitarian, I put quote in the air, if they're saying, I'm here for humanitarian reasons, well, then the immigration judge makes that determination. But right now, that's taking close to 5 years for them to ever see the immigration judge, and the statistics are 3% ever come back. So it is currently a way to circumvent our whole system by just entering illegally, because the process after detention or after apprehension is kind of broken.
Now,
you mentioned rescues, and I'm sure there were also confrontations that maybe attended to those rescues with coyotes and personnel from drug cartels. I want to focus on this a little bit, get you to focus on this a little bit, because the Border Patrol has often been maligned as strictly law enforcement when narrowly defined, rather than in the business of trying to protect people, the American people, but also protect people that are migrating toward the border.
Yeah. You know, the Border Patrol has the most complex job of any law enforcement out there. As much as you want to enforce, there's days where you're showing up and it's a humanitarian mission. There's days where you're doing medical interventions. There's days where you're doing crisis counseling for people who have lost their loved ones while attempting to come into America. And so you have to be able to see this very human issue and make a determination of how you're going to address it. No matter what, if someone comes up to me as a Border Patrol agent, they're going to be apprehended. But at that moment, do I need to implement medical interventions? Do I need to implement any kind of crisis counseling? And this is like the complexities of this career. These agents are doing multiple jobs at once, and people don't understand that. They want to see the demonized version of them, what the media wants to tell you. But the truth is, this is a complex job. Majority of Border Patrol agents are Hispanic themselves. And so this isn't this racist thing that people want to say. This is a very challenging, complex issue that happens daily. And so there's agents who are pulling bodies out of the water, who are attempting to cross, who have been manipulated in the first place by trafficking organizations saying this is the only way to do it. And so we're dealing with these Border Patrol agents for 30-year careers have seen thousands of dead bodies come across. It's not easy for a human to see these things day in and day out and not have struggles and troubles, and then also on top of that having the media portray them as the bad guy.
Well, and in your book, you talked about successful water rescues. You guys are also lifeguards. I mean, how many people have you successfully rescued from the Rio Grande?
No, I mean, countless. I mean, myself has been around 8 or 9. You know, this is, and, you know, the hard ones are the ones you don't save.
Yeah.
You know, Del Rio sector alone last year lost 247 individuals, whether it be to drownings or to heat casualties because of the weathers. They get told what to do, even if they can or can't swim. They have to do it at this moment. And then when there's an agent that sees them, the coyote leaves and leaves them hanging to fend for themselves. And it's us who either have to try and do our best to rescue them, save their lives, or walk up on a dead body.
Do you you stay in touch with guys that you served with, and if you do, what if anything do they share with you about their about what they're experiencing these days, what the challenges are?
Yeah, I still do consulting for the border, and I have close relationships with everyone still in the Border Patrol. You know, the morale has been low for a while because you have the higher-ups who don't understand the mission and essentially kind of don't support what's happening. We can tell they're overwhelmed, and these policies are not helping. And like I said, it doesn't help when the media portrays them as the bad guy. So morale has been a little low. It's a very challenging time right now for our Border Patrol agents. I just wanted to write this book to hopefully show them that they have a voice and people do appreciate what they do day in and day out. They are the first line of defense against terrorist organizations trying to enter this country. They are the first line of defense against any kind of drugs entering this country, and as well as they save more lives than any organization in this nation. They should be held at a high regard.
And I mean, just on a personal note, how'd you make the jump? How'd you make the jump from military and law enforcement to Hollywood?
And me and my friends decided to produce a movie. And when I produced one movie, that was it. I wanted to try and use my mind and writing to try and create films in the future. And so I have a Cinderella story. My first audition ever was Mayans, and I landed it.
Wow,
I love it.
you.
I love it. You were. I mean, Mayans was a great show. You were great in it. Really enjoyed it. Vincent Vargas, he served our country in Iraq and Afghanistan with the Army 2nd Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment, and also served in Border Patrol. Starting the FX series Mayans MC, which we've been discussing. The new book, pick it up, Borderline, Defending the Home Front. The book, Borderline, Defending the Home Front. Vincent Vargas, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck with the book, and we'll continue to look forward to more projects from you coming out of Hollywood.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560. The Answer.
Right now is a really good time to get your student loans under control. There are so many people that we talk to every day who tell us that they just feel so much anxiety and overwhelmed by their student loans. But once they pick up that phone and call us and we're able to give them a plan and a strategy that may lower their payment by hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands of dollars, and may actually get their loans forgiven. The point is just to give people some clarity and control over their situation so that they know that whatever the payment is, whatever the plan is, there actually is a plan, and that plan is going to save them the most amount of money. I'm Ray Kaplan, and I can help you get debt-free, stress-free. Give us a call at 312-294-8989 or visit us at financialrelief.com.
In a world where financial landscapes can change rapidly, safeguarding your savings and retirement accounts is paramount. Direct Bullion USA is more than just the #1 rated gold bullion dealer in America. We're your trusted partner in navigating the uncertainties of hyperinflation and political upheaval around the world. And we share your Christian worldview. Call us now at 888-787-GOLD. Precious metals like gold and silver have been a safe haven investment for hundreds of years. And investors are diversifying their portfolios every month with physical gold and silver with Direct Bullion USA. Get started when you call Direct Bullion USA at 888-787-4653 and get your free gold investing starter kit today. All it takes is one call to 888-787-GOLD. Take control of your retirement and protect your future with Direct Bullion USA. Call 888-787-4653. That's 888-787-GOLD.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, I'm going to check out that series now. Do I have to watch Sons of Anarchy to watch that one or no?
You don't, but you should. It'll make Mayans more enjoyable because there's some overlap.
Okay. How many series is Sons of Anarchy?
I mean, it's like the combination of the two is maybe 11 or 12 seasons. You've got the time.
Okay, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Cultural realism in K-12 and higher ed with Georgetown's Richard Kellenberg at 8:08.
Today, cloudiness in the afternoon, breezy, a high of 66 degrees. It's 8 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
Everybody beats Joe. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President Biden loses in every Republican matchup we asked about in our latest Fox poll, and Donald Trump's lead with Republican voters is growing.
Former President Donald Trump has a more than 4-to-1 lead on the nearest GOP hopeful. But the poll shows no matter the GOP nominee, President Joe Biden potentially falls short. He's bested by the former president, 50 to 46%. By Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, 50 to 45%, and by Ambassador Nikki Haley with the widest margin.
Part establishing an anti-drug cooperation group.
We're taking action to significantly reduce the flow of precursor chemicals and pill presses from China to the Western Hemisphere.
The synthetic opioids trafficking at the U.S. southern border has led to a surge of U.S. overdose deaths. Another agreement.
We're reassuming military-to-military contacts, direct contacts.
The two leaders met for 4 hours outside San Francisco on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit, also vowing to work together to assess the risk and safety impact of artificial intelligence. From APEC in San Francisco, Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
And President Biden addresses that summit today. New unemployment claims are up 13,000 to 231,000 last week. That's the most since August. The Labor Department also reports the number of people currently on unemployment is the highest since March. America's listening to Fox News.
"49 degrees in Chicago. It's 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The Illinois Commerce Commission today is expected to vote on a massive NICOR gas rate increase that could jack up your bill by about $9 a month. NICOR has won 3 rate hikes since 2018. Raising charges by about $500 million, according to the Citizens Utility Board. The ICC will also weigh whether to approve rate hikes for Ameren, Peoples Gas, and North Shore Gas. Mayor Brandon Johnson celebrating passage of his first budget.
You all know what's in this budget. We did everything I said I would do. I kept my word.
City Council approving the spending plan on a 41-8 vote yesterday. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson just 6 months into his new term, but according to new polling, residents are very unhappy with his performance. Dylan Sharkey of the Illinois Policy Institute.
Mayor Brandon Johnson has the lowest approval rating for a new mayor. Only 3 times since 1979 has the Chicago mayor's approval rating dipped below 30%.
In other news we're following this morning, family members are demanding prosecutors do their jobs after a man was killed, his brother critically wounded in a shooting this past weekend in Chicago's Humboldt Park neighborhood. Tremont Thomas and his brother Terrence were shot delivering food on Saturday. Bulls victims of a buzzer beater at the UC, losing to Orlando 96-94. Blackhawks back on the ice tonight, facing off against Tampa Bay, and the Lions will face off against the Bears and Justin Fields at quarterback on Sunday. The news, a service of Turnkey.pro. Turnkey knows small business. Their team of veteran consultants knows how to reduce costs and grow new revenue streams. Turnkey has solutions for your business. Visit Turnkey.pro. 8:04. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Walmart's quarter was better than expected. Online shopping helped to push sales up by 5%, though Walmart's forecast for the holiday quarter is weaker than Wall Street predictions, and the stock is losing ground. Macy's is also reporting an upbeat quarter. Sales declined, but the company's holding up. It's been able to squeeze more from the products it sells and has been able to offer fewer promotions, and Macy's shares are higher. Shares of computer networking company Cisco Systems are slumping, down 11%. Cisco says it's seeing a slowdown in new product orders. Its soft guidance is impacting other networking stocks. Computer maker Lenovo saw its profits slump more than 50% in the recent quarter, though it says business is now stabilizing. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Coselda, invested in you.
Mike Gallagher looks to better times.
Let's have a return to world peace. Let's have a return to stability. Let's have a return to epic joblessness and epically low mortgage rates and inflation under control and an effort to secure a border. Let's get Trump back in the White House.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're self-employed and purchase your own health insurance, I have some great news. From now until January 15th, the health insurance exchanges are open again. And even if you've never qualified for a health insurance subsidy before, you most likely will now. The American Rescue Plan expanded subsidy eligibility to millions of Americans who have never qualified before, even to those with high income levels. And this year, you can purchase a multi-state PPO policy, which includes access to Northwestern Medical Group, as well as other teaching hospitals around the nation. Employers who provide small group coverage also have new options, and so do seniors looking for Medicare supplement coverage. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 25-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than 10 years. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551.
Bettenhausen Mobility is the fastest growing authorized Braun Ability dealer serving the Chicagoland area. Bettenhausen offers a complete lineup of wheelchair accessible vehicles with the options to fit all your mobility needs. As a Braun Ability dealer, Bettenhausen Mobility can provide sales and service to all accessible vehicles and mobility solutions on several makes and models. Whether you need side entry with manual or power operation or different ramp options, Bettenhausen Mobility has a solution for you. Showroom open at bettenhausenmobility.com.
Hi, Wayne Burdick, Health Insurance Specialist. Open enrollment for individual and small group plans has arrived. There are many plan changes for 2024. Let me help you find the right plan. Lower your cost of insurance, reduce deductibles and out-of-pocket expenses. Call now, 847-274-5918, or go to lowercosthealthplans.com. Having an agent is crucial and no cost to you. Call Burdick Insurance at 847-274-5918 or lowercosthealthplans.com.
All right,
Christmas will be here before we know it. If you're looking for a really special gift, I encourage you to check out the firearms made right here in America by our great friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, you start by going to their website, henryusa.com, order their free holiday gift guide, and they'll mail it with free decals that you can use for stocking stuffers. Perfect timing. Folks, when you give someone a Henry, you're giving them a work of art that is built with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen as a collector. Now, their performance is top-notch. Mine were accurate, all of them, right out of the box. They shoot smooth and straight, and they have been reliable ever since. They have over 200 models of rifles and shotguns and revolvers to choose from. One of the things I like the most about these firearms, they're family heirlooms. They'll always be backed by the company's lifetime warranty. So if you want to put something that's made in America under the tree this Christmas, henryusa.com. Get their free gift guide and their decals today. That's henryusa.com. You will love this company.
It's 8:08. Time to call Permaseal Basement Systems. 800-421-7325. And let's check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Eden's at 43 Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy right now at 90 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Stevenson, stop and slow. Harlem all the way to Kedzie. 70 minutes into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Tri-State jammed up due to an earlier accident northbound between 95th and Ogden. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
A breezy day, clouds will increase. It'll be warm. High today 66. Breezy this evening, cloudy with a couple of showers moving in late, low 45. Morning shower in spots tomorrow, then clouds and sun, the high at 48. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
49 at O'Hare, your next news update, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We, as you know, spend a lot of time on this show talking about education from pre-K through post-secondary. And got to say, I'm continue to be disappointed with the results. It doesn't seem like those who believe in a small L liberal arts education and developing the character and intellect and reasoning skills of young people are winning the day, beset by the politics of pre-K through post-secondary education, as we're seeing playing out in some spectacularly brutal fashion right now in so many respects, including something we've mentioned quite a bit, the statewide report card on Illinois schools, which finds, 1.85 million kids in K through 12, and about 1/4 do math at grade level, and 1/3 read at grade level. 1.85 million kids. Those are death of civilization numbers, in my view.
Why have school?
Well, yeah. And so you have sort of ongoing separation based on resources, which is why I'm such a proponent of school choice. And we have other models, too, that actually are rather interesting and maybe should be replicated and scaled. We talked to Jeremy Mann, who founded the Field School on the west side of the city a few weeks back, where they're purposefully economically integrating the school. So you have everybody pays something, but the tuition ranges from a little bit to up to $20,000 for families that can afford that sort of private school tuition. And so you have professionals, mom's a doctor, dad's an accountant, they live in Oak Park, sending their kid to the Field School. And you have some families who are getting a lot of tuition assistance who live on the west side of the city and don't have college-educated parents at home and so forth, that are also part of the Field School. Maybe that's a model that should get more attention. To help us address the state of K through 12 and, by extension, post-secondary education, pleased to be joined by Richard Kallenberg. He's an education housing policy consultant, non-resident scholar at Georgetown University's McCourt School of Public Policy. He's the author of the book Excluded: How Snob Zoning, NIMBYism, and Class Bias Build the Walls We Don't See. And he's recently penned a piece at his Substack, The Liberal Patriot, Cultural Realism in K through 12 and Higher Education, which details all of the failings from a statistical perspective, which that's pretty easy to do. Pointing the way forward is a little bit more difficult, and then charting that way forward, the most difficult of all. Richard Kallenberg, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
So, I mean, we've seen this play out even recently in elections. I mean, it was a big issue in Kentucky in the governor's race, the impact that the school lockdowns had there, and where Kentucky families find the reading and math proficiency of their students, which is not dissimilar to Illinois. And this is a story that repeats itself in big school systems around the country, including some in the suburbs. I know some suburbanites haven't come to that realization or are unwilling to confront it, but the numbers in a lot of even upper middle income suburbs are not great either. So I think we've well documented how poorly things were going before COVID, how COVID school shutdowns exacerbated that poor performance. And so now what do we do?
Yeah, well, let me pick up on something you mentioned. That I'm intrigued by the field school example of purposely trying to bring kids of different economic backgrounds together. That's one of the most powerful things we can do in education. There was a report many years ago called the Coleman Report came out of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, and they looked across the country. Why do we have these achievement gaps? And the biggest predictor of academic achievement is the economic status of the family. The family is the number one predictor. The second biggest predictor is the economic status of your classmates. And so economically disadvantaged kids can do amazing things if given the right environment, but they often end up in schools where everyone else is poor, and that is not a recipe for success. And so I think replicating what the field school is doing, consciously trying to bring children of different economic backgrounds together, to learn from one another and to have that opportunity is an important avenue forward. There are now 171 school districts and charter schools that are pursuing this policy. And in fact, years ago, I worked with the Chicago Public Schools on those selective enrollment schools, the ones that are you have to test into, and help them design a program to try to make sure that the schools gave an equal shot to students who'd overcome obstacles as well as those who had a lot given to them in life.
Did you help out with the tier program? So if you're a rich person, you live in tier 4, then tier 2, then tier 1 is, say, projects?
I did.
And so, I mean, but it seems to me, even with the selective enrollment schools, and I know you address in your piece the sort of school choice versus not school choice, and focusing on improving the public school systems, the government school systems. But it seems to me, and you do mention this, that mobility is a big issue. So if you're relegated to the school where you live, you don't get into the selective enrollment school, and there are not scholarship opportunities to get you over to the field school, then, I mean, aren't you sort of locked in? We have a lot of generations of families that are locked into the same schools that haven't really produced very good results for all of those generations.
Yeah, that's obviously not optimal. And you mentioned I've got a new book out on housing policy, and I think one of the biggest things we can do is to reduce the exclusionary zoning policies that that basically keep families stuck in certain high poverty neighborhoods. It's illegal to build a duplex or a triplex in large swaths of America. 75% of the land in most American cities, and even more in the suburbs, is for single family homes only. And I'm working with conservatives on this issue at the American Enterprise Institute, because they see it as an issue of liberty. Why is the government telling me what to do with my property, what I can do with my own property? And but I come at it from a more progressive, a liberal perspective, and think, in terms of opportunity for the students who are stuck in really low performing public schools that have high poverty rates, haven't been succeeding, that they need better opportunities too. And I think housing is one of the avenues to try to address that.
But sir, with all due respect, and I say this because my kids, when we went through the selective enrollment process, when you were creating those tiers, why didn't you base it on a family's income? Because you'll have McMansions, and then you'll have Section 8 housing, and then you'll have just regular, condos. So it just didn't make sense with why some kids that were in nicer neighborhoods, because they wanted safer neighborhoods, but yet their family was below the medium income for the poverty level. Does that make sense?
So, I understand the criticism. Yeah. So there were a couple of points. I mean, one was there was a question. If you look at individual family income, I think there was a sense, this was several years ago, this back in 2008, 2009, that those data weren't reliable, that families would not necessarily be truthful in reporting whether their income levels. And so the address was something that was considered safer. But I've worked with the Charlotte public school system on kind of a hybrid system to address the concern that you're raising, which is you look at the neighborhood that a student comes from, but then also ask for information about the family income, and they put a more rigorous program in to try to detect fraud. And I think that's the best solution, is to look at both family income and neighborhood. And then you can see the outliers. Okay, so this person's saying they're low income, but we know they live in this incredibly wealthy section of town. That raises some red flags. But I take your point that it's there are downsides to only looking at neighborhood, and that's why I think it makes sense to look at both family and neighborhood.
Well, and we also have to look at what's going on inside the school. So the curriculum wars, and as I said, there's a lot of suburban schools that aren't getting the job done in terms of basic skills either. Wealthier areas that aren't getting the job done. And I know you come from a progressive perspective, but you also lodged some criticism in the direction of the 1619 project, backed by the New York Times. So detail that criticism. What was the problem with the 1619 project from your perspective?
Well, let me say a couple of things about that. One is, I've read the book, the 1619 Project book, and I learned a lot from it. There's some interesting things in there. Having said that, the fundamental idea is that the true founding of the country was in 1619, when enslaved people were brought to this country. And most Americans, myself included, would reject that view. 1776 was the founding of this country, and it's what makes this country special and different. And the idea that we would suggest that what America is about fundamentally is racism, I think is inaccurate. And how do you build a public school system around that idea? I mean, I think fundamentally the purpose of public education is to teach kids what it means to be an American, which is we have a dedication to the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, and that's a widely held view among liberals and conservatives, and we ought to focus on that rather than a divisive type of curriculum, which only highlights the warts in American history and not the way in which, the genius of democracy is that slavery led to an abolition movement, that Jim Crow led to, because we have free speech, the right to assembly, and all these freedoms, that led to a civil rights movement. And so we can't ignore the dark history, but also have to balance that. And so that was my criticism of the 1619 project.
We focus so much on inputs. I mean, the debate is dominated by how much per pupil we're spending here versus there and so forth. The outputs and the not so soft anymore bigotry of low expectations across the board. In Chicago, we had Chicago public school teachers failing the basic skills test at an alarming rate, so they got rid of the basic skills test. Now we want to get rid of all sorts of other testing, and again, that levels up to college, where more and more schools are dumping the ACT and SAT as well. What's your perspective on how to measure performance?
Well, I think we do need standardized assessments that will give us a sense kind of across different schools how students are doing, whether they're learning the skills that we hope they have in order to prepare them for life. So we've seen a lot of grade inflation in recent years, and there was a recent study which found, it used to be that high school and elementary school grades would track with test scores. They were consistent. And now the grades have been going up and the test scores have been going down. So it's important to be able to measure what we're doing. So I'm a proponent of making sure we have that knowledge. I think in some cases, there has been an over-reliance on testing. So, for example, when people apply to college, when students apply to college, I'd like the university to consider the test scores, but also what obstacles a student has had to overcome in life, because a certain ACT or SAT score would mean something different based on whether someone came from a poor neighborhood, overcame all sorts of hurdles in life. So I'm for the measurements, making sure we know how students are doing, but considering them in context of life circumstances as well.
Richard Kallenberg is Education and Housing Policy Consultant, non-resident scholar at Georgetown University's McCourt School of Public Policy, the author of the new book, Excluded, How Snob Zoning, NIMBYism, and Class Bias Build the Walls We Don't See. And you can also check out his piece, Cultural Realism in K-12 and Higher Education, at the Liberal Patriot. Richard Kallenberg, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate you having me very much. Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Have you been searching for a Napa Valley quality winery experience closer to home? A hidden gem awaits you at Bishop's Hill Winery in Joliet. Come experience fine wine, history, and castles. Stay to enjoy the Bishop's Hill tasting room to round out a perfect day. The Bishop's Hill Castle is easily accessible in nearby Joliet. This facility was home to a former brewery in the 1860s and is located on a hill with a commanding view, where you'll enjoy sampling some of the highest-rated wines in the world. Bishop's Hill wines are made from California grapes and sustainably grown. These wines have received Best in Class, Gold, and Double Gold awards at the San Francisco Chronicle North American Wine Competition. Now is your opportunity to stock up for the holidays and purchase national award-winning wine from Joliet-based Bishop's Hill Winery. If you want the Napa experience without the cost, look no further. Group discounts are available, and the Bishop's Hill Castle is also ready to host your next event for your family or business. Visit online at bishopshill.com. That's bishopshill.com.
Eating balance of nature, fruits and veggies, is not replacing the fruits and vegetables in your diet. It is fruits and vegetables in your diet. Ask yourself, how many servings of fruits and vegetables have I eaten today? Have you eaten 1, 2, 3, and from how many varieties? Most people are less than 3. Our body is an amazing chemical laboratory, and when you give it the right chemistry, it functions the best. Balance of nature is 31 different fruits and vegetables prepared in a way to give you the ultimate whole fruit and vegetable chemistry. Let Balance of Nature help you supplement your fruit and vegetable intake for a lot less money and a lot less work and a much higher quality of life.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Homeowners experiencing low water pressure, rusty yellow water, little to no hot water, or pressure so low that showering is difficult?
Honey, don't flush. I'm in the shower.
These are all symptoms of clogged and corroded galvanized water pipes that are filled with gunk older than you. You should see it. It's disgusting. You drink it, brush your teeth with it, and bathe in it. Yuck. For your family's sake, repipe your home with quality PEX or copper pipes from All Affordable Plumbing. We're your local family-owned and operated repiping expert. We can repipe your home in 1 to 3 days with minimal disturbance, and we include a lifetime guarantee. And for a limited time, we're offering 12-month no-interest, no-payment financing and a free water heater. So if you have low water pressure, call for a free in-home estimate at 800-NEW-PIPE or visit allaffordable.org. That's 800-NEW-PIPE or visit allaffordable.org. If you have low water pressure, a copper repipe will get you flowing again. Call for a free estimate at 800-NEW-PIPE. That's 800-NEW-PIPE.
Testosterone levels are at an all-time low. Individual T levels decline 1% every year. Chalk, CHOQ, is the new champion of natural testosterone boosters. Chalk's main ingredient is clinically studied to naturally boost testosterone 20% in 90 days. Supercharge your masculinity and boost your daily energy with Chalk's Male Vitality Stack. For a limited time, our listeners will get 30% off at CHOQ.com with promo code USA. CHOQ.com, code USA.
At Simply Safe Home Security, your safety is the only thing that matters. That's why you get 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day, because every home deserves to be protected. Right now, get 50% off the whole home security system named the best of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. Visit simplysafe.com/radio to save big today. Advanced Home Security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. This past Tuesday in the nation's capital, we saw a march for Israel. I was there. People from all over the country were represented. Cleveland stands with Israel, read one sign. Philly stands with Israel. Houston another. Columbus, Cincinnati. It was a marker in American history. America stands with Israel. No matter how many crazies we have on university campuses and no matter how much cowardice we see from college administrators, the nation at large stands with Israel. The new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, was there. The Senate Majority Leader, the Democrat Chuck Schumer, was there. Yes, we've seen the wicked face of anti-Semitism raise its head in our nation. We've seen it in the halls of Congress and in our major cities where the anti-Semitic protests are loud and destructive, sometimes violent. But the Times of Israel estimated that nearly 300,000 showed up on Tuesday in solidarity with Israel. What we saw was the soul of our nation on display. America stands with Israel. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, it keeps getting better.
In 2020, Orlando Magic power forward Jonathan Isaac was the only NBA player who didn't kneel for the anthem. In 2021, he questioned very thoughtfully the vaccine mandates. He didn't want to take it. And today, he's got a new line of shoes and sportswear out under the brand Unitus. We're going to talk to Orlando Magic power forward Jonathan Isaac. You're going to like this guy at 8:38.
Can't wait, but first we got to stop by that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
8:32 in Chicago. We have 49 degrees. U.S. Capitol Police say they arrested one person following protests outside the Democrat National Committee headquarters in Washington, D.C. As part of a pro-Palestinian rally, rioters got into a shoving match with Capitol Police. 6 Capitol officers suffered injuries. President Biden says his meetings with the Chinese president were some of the most constructive and productive discussion the two leaders have ever had.
President Biden says he and Chinese President Xi Jinping will curb Chinese-based fentanyl production.
More people in the United States between the ages of 18 to 49 die from fentanyl than from guns, car accidents, or any other cause, period.
Also that they will resume military-to-military communication, and
We're going to get our experts together to discuss risk and safety issues associated with artificial intelligence.
the two leaders meeting face-to-face for the first time in a year for a 4-hour discussion on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. President Biden also stressing the importance of peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. From APAC in San Francisco, Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Voting by the UAW on tentative contract agreements with all three Detroit automakers ends today. Ford and Stellantis workers are expected to approve their deals. There's speculation that GM workers may not. The FAA giving SpaceX the go-ahead for a planned launch of the Starship prototype tomorrow at 7 a.m. The Illinois Commerce Commission is expected to vote today on a massive NICOR gas rate increase that could jack up your bill by $9 a month. The ICC will also weigh in on whether to approve rate hikes for Ameren Peoples Gas and North Shore Gas. Following the passage of his first budget as mayor, Brandon Johnson is unveiling changes in the treatment and housing of illegal migrants. Johnson's laid out the specifics of his new plan, giving migrants a 60-day limit in city-run shelters.
Making those investments on the front end, we have to make, with the resources that we are providing, we have to make sure that we're setting these families and these individuals up to actually contribute so that we can actually have a return on that investment.
Johnson says it's all part of an expedited plan to get migrants on the path to work. Chicago sports. Bulls beaten at the buzzer by Orlando 96-94. On the ice, Blackhawks trying to get back in the win column when they face off against Tampa Bay. Justin Fields back at quarterback for the Bears as they take on the Lions this weekend. College hoops yesterday, Illinois State topped Eastern Illinois. The news service of In Grace with Jim Scudder Jr. now heard Sunday morning at 6:30 on AM 560. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka explains our current immigration process.
We're not screening these people. I mean, when you can pre-clear yourself on the DHS app while you're sitting in Mexico and everybody's being allowed in as an asylum seeker, do we know really who these people are and what they've done?
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Guevalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
All right, do you want a killer Black Friday deal? I got one. Get a free Moto G 5G phone with Pure Talk. No gimmicks, no trade-in necessary. You just sign up for Pure Talk's unlimited talk and text and 15-gig data plan. It's only $35 a month, and you'll get your Moto G 5G phone for free. But here's the deal. You need to move fast because these phones are going to be gone by the end of the month. So if your current phone is on life support, you can upgrade for free with Pure Talk. Now, you enjoy 2-day battery life, an exceptional quad-pixel camera, and a whole lot more. Dial pound 250, say the keyword SAVE now to get this exclusive offer and to select the plan that's right for your family. Remember, Pure Talk gives you America's most dependable 5G network at half the price, so make the switch today. It's simple, fast, and easy. Dial pound 250, say the keyword SAVE now to claim your free Moto G 5G phone with a qualifying plan. Again, dial pound 250, say the keyword SAVE now. Pure Talk is simply smarter wireless.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba, Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
8:37. Let's check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, a service of Blindster.com, selling custom blinds designed for do-it-yourselfers. Unlike stock blinds offered at your big box retailer, Blindster blinds are custom made for your windows. Shipping is free. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com. Bensonville, accidents. Irving Park and Route 83, Grand and Church this morning in Bensonville. Jane Addams accident right shoulder on the toll road eastbound I-90 between Manheim to right before the Tri-State. Tri-State accident right lane block. This is a brand new crash northbound between 95th and Ogden. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Today, see increasing clouds, warm, breezy by the afternoon, topping out near 65. A low tonight of 46, morning showers tomorrow. Currently, we have 49 at O'Hare, 49 at Midway. Your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Charles Barkley, that's Sir Charles to you, Amy. He famously said athletes aren't role models, but sometimes they are, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they are. There are exceptions. C.J. Stroud, the rookie QB for the Houston Texans out of Ohio State. Another quarterback the Bears missed on. Who's having an MVP, forget Rookie of the Year, he's having an MVP season right now. Yes, on this past weekend's victory and how he stayed cool under pressure. This is what C.J. Stroud explained to the press about who he is.
It's a lot of prayer, a lot of just knowing that, man, God wouldn't put anything on me that I can't handle. I don't deserve his grace and his mercy, but he still gives it to me, and I love him for that because, I mean, it's not about me, it's about him and his glory. So I think that's where it comes from. I think God made me like that. I've been through a lot, not only in football, but things that made me just kind of chill during when everything's going crazy. And I thank God for putting that on me because that's something that, put that in me, because that's something that you need playing in this position in this league.
How about that? Somebody reading from that same playbook, or maybe C.J. Stroud is reading from his, is Jonathan Isaac. He is a power forward for the Orlando Magic. Nice win last night over the Bulls, by the way. He is also a husband, father, author, speaker, minister. He was the lone NBA player in 2020 to not kneel for the national anthem amid league-wide demonstrations in support of Black Lives Matter. It led him to write a bestseller entitled Why I Stand. He also was willing to push back against vaccine mandates and sort of just thoughtfully ask questions about what we understood as we were all going through COVID as a nation and why the vaccine may or may not make sense for a young, healthy man like himself. Just asking questions. Unfortunately, he chose not to be CDC director. He's going to stick with the NBA. In addition to his game, he's also founded this company that we previewed when it became public over the summer. It's called Unitus, 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 and it's a sports apparel firm. And we're pleased to have Jonathan Isaac on the show to talk a little bit about all that. Jonathan Isaac, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
So the inspiration for the sports apparel company?
I think mainly it's just about creating an alternative. As I began to look out into just where our country is headed, where society is headed, I felt like we're moving farther and farther away from godly values and principles and also constitutional values and principles. And so I just wanted to see my values, and I know millions of other values, that people share, represented in the marketplace. And instead of waiting for other people to celebrate them, we can celebrate them ourselves.
Are you getting any pushback from the league?
Not really. You know, I've had my fair share of, I would say negativity around it, but it has completely been overshadowed by the positivity of people just understanding where I'm coming from, getting behind us, helping us be successful early. And, my mindset right now is just on continuing to expand, but I haven't got much pushback from the NBA.
We're a little sensitive about basketball shoes here because we don't want to take money out of Michael Jordan's pocket. He needs that money, Jonathan. He's got golf courses he's built. He's got all kinds of things going on. So, but tell us the backstory on Judah 1, the shoe.
The backstory for the Judah 1 was really just the same thing. Back in 2020, I got injured, and I was originally a Nike athlete, and I ended up not re-signing with Nike. And then it turned into, okay, what do I do now? And I actually went to my pastor, and he told me I should create my own sneaker. And I was like, you're insane. But we started to go down the road of what it would look like, and it kind of just grew. And the same thing was like, okay, why don't I use a sneaker to wear my values on the court? And so this is literally the first NBA caliber sneaker with a visible Bible verse on the outside. There are 5 colorways, and each one features a different Bible verse. Different ones that speak to me in my journey. The one that comes out today at 4 p.m. is called Triumph, and it has 2 Corinthians 4:9 on it that says, persecuted, not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. And for me, that just speaks to my bout with injuries and coming back and just God continuing to be with me. And so the sneakers is just one way to, underneath Unitus, to continue to represent our values in the marketplace. And now I can, have that for young hoopers and athletes, everybody who plays basketball saying, I want to wear my values while I'm on the court.
So I got a functional question about the Judah ones because I just bought shoes, but I'm gonna buy one of these Judah 1 pairs. But I used to play basketball, not quite at your level, not quite at your level. But now I'm an old man.
Didn't even make Bennett's high school team. Okay.
Well, that's not true. But the question now that I'm an old man is, are they pickleball friendly? Because that's my new sport.
I would say so. They're definitely a basketball sneaker. Like I'm literally wearing them as we play. I wore them last night as we, like you said, we beat Chicago, and we got them again tomorrow. But yeah, I'm literally wearing them on the court. We have a few other NBA players wearing them. I would think they would hang up with pickleball.
Okay, good.
So they could be
Thank
court
goodness.
shoes, and So how do you make a shoe that represents your values without compromising style or performance? Were you in on the process of the actual making of the shoe?
100% from the beginning. And so that was the daunting task for me, because it was like, hey, I have this idea. I want to create sneakers that represent my values. But the easiest thing to do is create a bad shoe and just slap a Bible verse on it and say, hey, it has my values. Everybody go buy it. But I wanted it to be performance-based and also very stylish. That's something that people want to wear. And so what I did was, it was kind of unconventional, but I saw it in a movie. And so I'm in Orlando. I went over to the UCF School of Design, their school there, and we actually turned it into an assignment for the students to have to come up with different looks. And we ended up hiring 5 of them after they showed their portfolios in their first kind of iteration of the shoe. And we were able to work with them, and that's how the first prototype look of the Judah 1 was born. And we just ran from it from there. But I'm so glad with the way that it turned out. And I think we nailed it with that balance of values, performance, and style.
Okay, we're getting slammed right now with text messages. How can we order the shoes? Where can we buy them?
Oh, awesome. I appreciate that. You can head to weareunitus.com, weareunitus.com. And right when you get on the site, you should see that the first colorway will drop at 4 p.m. You can just sign up to make sure you don't miss it, and, stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm already signed up. But here, a question for you. I mean, I don't want to get you in trouble, but UCF is your alma mater, Florida State. Are they upset with you that you went to UCF to get the design done and not to Florida State?
No, they're not upset. UCF is literally just right there. It's 20 minutes away. I would have had to fly to Tallahassee to do that. No.
And so you mentioned, you've had your share of negativity over the years, over the last few years in the NBA. I mean, sort of the same question that C.J. Stroud was asked. How do you stay cool under the heat? He was talking about the game pressure, but the pressure to, be the only guy who didn't kneel for the anthem in the NBA. I suppose maybe some players and some teammates and other players in the NBA said, "Hey, Jonathan, what's your problem?"
Yeah, absolutely. I would say two things. I think the first off, and he said it so perfectly with that, at the end of the day, it's not about him, it's about God. And what I try my best to do in all of these moments where people say, oh, why do you have to take a stand? Why do you have to go against the grain? I try my best to move myself out of the way and say, you know what? I believe that this is what God is calling me to do, and I'm willing to lose. I hadn't signed my contract extension at the time when I decided to stand in the bubble. So, my career was up for jeopardy. It had went in a different way. And so I was willing to say, you know what, God, I don't care about money. I don't care about what people think about me. I knew I was going to be name called. I knew I was going to be maligned. But I said, I believe that this is this offering Christ as a solution to the problems that we see in our society is the right thing to do. Kneeling won't change anything. Wearing a T-shirt won't change anything. And I think we've seen that it hasn't changed anything. And so that's where I was. And same thing with COVID. I believe that this is the right thing for me to do. This is what God is calling me to do, and I'm going to stand on it. And I think the second thing is the people that I have around me. I talked about how I went to my pastor when it came to the shoe. I've gone to him extensively for everything. And I was actually on the phone with him the night before I stood, and he said to me, Jonathan, you can't stand for God and God not stand for you. And that has been something that is, I've continued to live by. My wife, my family, my church family, they've always been there for me, encouraging me to stand up for what God has called me to do. And I never feel like I'm doing something alone.
Is that helped you get past maybe some of the skepticism initially that what you were doing is not making a political statement, but rather, living your faith beliefs, and that's what all of this is about? Maybe some people are skeptical in the beginning and they're like, oh no, I get where Jonathan's coming from, and I may not agree with him, but I get where he's coming from.
100%. And I've grown as an individual as well when it comes to talking about politics and talking about all these different things. What I want, everybody to be able to do is to be authentically themselves. And if you stand for these values, I want you to have the confidence and pride to say, you know what, these are the values that I stand for. I can lead with grace and love, but I do need to stand up for what I believe in. And let the cards fall where they may. We can agree to disagree. So I've definitely developed some callous. And I probably, it's because of that callous that I've been able to continue to create Unitus, create the Judah One, because I'm like, you know what? I'm not necessarily afraid of what people think anymore. I want to give people, lovers of God, lovers of country, a voice and a way to wear their values in a, great, high quality, stylish way. And I really feel like if we aren't creating alternatives for the future, when we do get to the point where they say, hey, if you don't believe this, if you don't agree with that, you can't shop here, you can't do this, you can't go here. And so if there aren't alternatives like Unitus, like other radio stations, like other TV channels and things like that, the only answer is going to be to conform.
So yeah, well said. Yeah. During COVID, Kyrie Irving took a lot of heat also for his position on the vaccine. I wonder, did you have, on the COVID specifically and that whole situation, did you have conversations with him or other NBA players that were sort of similarly disposed and asking the same reasonable questions and providing the same thoughtful pushback?
I didn't, but me and Kyrie have always had a mutual respect for each other. Whenever we see each other, it's always, great to see each other. He continues to stand up for what he believes in, and I continue to do the same thing in my bout. But I didn't get to, talk to him much at all during that time.
Well, you were lucky because you could play at home games because you were in Florida, but he had to sit out home games in New York, which was ridiculous.
Exactly.
So Jonathan Isaac, power forward for the Orlando Magic. I want to ask you one more question about your relationship with God. Have you always had a special relationship with him, or is this something that you grew into?
Something that I definitely grew up into. I grew up in the church, but for me it was always a traditional piece of my life. It wasn't something that was like, a real fundamental understanding of who Jesus Christ was, that he died for my sins, and that he wanted to have a relationship with me and wanted to have a tangible relationship with me. It was just about, this is what we did as a family. It actually wasn't until I got into the NBA that that same pastor that I talk about, I met him on an elevator. And at the point in time, I was still searching. I was figuring myself out. I was, 1 foot in the world, 1 foot in, trying to understand who God was. And this random guy stops me at the elevator. We ended up living in the same building. And he said to me, "I can tell you how to be great." And I said, "How?" And he said, "You have to know Jesus." And from that moment, my life completely flipped upside down. It's a really long story, but I wrote about it extensively in my book, Why I Stand, and I would encourage anybody to check it out and get it on Amazon. But yeah, I go through the whole story of, how, God orchestrated that moment and led me to, truly accepting Christ as my Lord and Savior and getting me to where I am right now.
All right. The Judah 1 drops today, by the way. If you go to the weareunitus.com website, there's also shorts and T-shirts and warm-ups and all sorts of other sportswear that's going to be available. Weareunitus, UNITUS.com. Sign up for the Judah 1, which drops this afternoon. Jonathan Isaac, power forward for the Orlando Magic. Great to speak with you. Best of luck with the Unitus company, and thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you both. I really appreciate this. This helps us continue to grow and be what we want to be out here in the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Have you noticed cracked or sinking concrete around your home, driveways, sidewalks, garage floors, or patios? In addition to looking bad, cracked or sinking concrete causes an uneven surface that poses a safety hazard. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. Would you like to fix the problem without replacing the concrete? We have the solution for you. Permaseal polylevel foam can be injected beneath concrete surfaces, leveling and preventing future settlement. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL for a free evaluation. The polylevel process is done with minimal disruption, quickly and at a fraction of the cost of concrete replacement. And unlike traditional mud jacking methods, polylevel foam is lightweight so it doesn't add additional weight to the area. Polylevel is the most durable and cosmetically appealing solution to your cracked or sinking concrete. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-SEAL or visit permaseal.net.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hey all, Jim Carr here. I am the owner of Carr Machine and Tool in Elk Grove Village and loyal customer of Signature Bank. As a second-generation owner, I knew I had to shift from operating as an old-school machine shop to what I can proudly say is now one of the fastest-growing aerospace manufacturing facilities in the region. Signature Bank was there every step of the way through our expansion efforts, including financing our new state-of-the-art facility. Their valuable industry expertise and constant communication throughout the construction process made our vision possible. Many thanks to Signature Bank for supporting Carr Machine and Tool. You set the bar high for other banks.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
In the heart of Bedford Falls, one man faced incredible challenges in his business journey. George Bailey, a humble banker, knew that success often comes hand in hand with adversity. But George wasn't alone in his struggle. He discovered the power of resilience, innovation, friends, and community. Like George, your business may face obstacles, financial setbacks, fierce competition, IT nightmares, or unforeseen crises. But remember, it's not about the challenges you face. It's about how you overcome them. At Turnkey, we understand the George Bailey spirit. We're here to provide you with the solutions, guidance, and support you need to conquer your business and IT challenges. Whether you're a small-town bank, distributor, manufacturer, or a cutting-edge startup, we believe that every business has the potential to thrive. Together, we'll build a bridge to your success, just like George Bailey did in Bedford Falls. Join us at Turnkey. Let's write your own It's a Wonderful Business Life. Because like George, your dreams are worth it. Start a conversation today by visiting turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
If you're trading or thinking about trading in the stock market, listen up. Last year, a staggering number of Americans were forced to take out withdrawals from their savings. Worse than the dot-com bubble, housing meltdown, or pandemic crash. Those could all feel like a blip compared to what some Wall Street analysts expect may be coming as soon as December. Some are calling it the market tsunami, and it could wipe out billions of dollars in the markets. Vantage Point's AI analyzes billions of data points in seconds, so you get high